following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
By tomorrow, I will rule the world!
You think he's gone? He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Is this some radical new therapy?
You see?
Well, I must have not been paying attention when you were just talking.
I used that He's Never Gone, so it's for some reason last week, and I can't remember why. Well, last week I posted, see, this is why they say he's never gone. Oh, it was when we announced where TMF is moving to.
Oh, yeah.
We don't want you downtown where people can see you, so we're throwing you out of the bus station. Okay, now we're closer to the police station.
There's a song that says Sweet Victory. How does it go? No? Isn't it?
I don't know. Sweet Victory?
Oh, Victory. No, something like that. Something like that. I don't know.
Let me pull up my sponsors.
Yes, please.
I'm so off my game today, so bad. It's just terrible.
Too.
It's just terrible.
Hi, everybody.
Last night.
Yeah. Put you up?
Nope.
Oh,
I can't find my notes.
I found it.
You found it?
The song. Yeah, Sweet Victory.
Yeah, it's good to remember that.
SpongeBob performed it on the show.
Did he? I love SpongeBob. I watched so much SpongeBob with my kids growing up.
Yeah.
That now, even though they're in their early 30s now, if I'm flipping channels and I see SpongeBob, I stop and I still watch it. Yeah, I do.
I don't let Alejandro watch it.
You don't?
He's too little. Everyone. Everyone, come on.
Ba, 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 ba. Look at that. First guest in a long time. First guest in a long time. We didn't have to yell at him for not doing the first ba-ba-ba.
Thank you. Good job.
Maybe Heather Plunkett will love him now.
Oh,
look at me, Mr. Willette, when I'm talking to you.
I'm so triggered right now.
Look at me. How dare you know? She reminds me of like every ex-wife every guy's ever had. You look at me when I talk to you.
I can
every
attest
stepmother,
to that.
every evil stepmother from every Disney movie is Heather Plunkett. Look at me when I talk to you.
Don't eat any apples from her, okay?
Do you think she might vote for me still? Ba, 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 ba.
All right. Very good. We're already having way too much fun, although it is waking me up, I'll admit.
All right, I want you to hear the song. You've heard that song before.
Yes, I have, yes.
Yeah.
This is the one where he's dancing.
Yeah, I don't want to put it too much on YouTube.
All right, let's get this show on the road. I'm having a hard time adjusting to the table today, but I'm going to get through it.
Nobody noticed. Tom.
I know. All right, let's get the show on the road. Hi, how you guys doing? My name's Tom Duggan here with the Paying Attention podcast right across the street from the plush and luxurious Valley Patriot newspaper offices. I got a great guest in the show with you today. I want to talk about a couple things real quick. First, let's get to our advertisers. Before we get to our advertisers, intern girl, is my Lisi Rivas, is she listing us as a sponsor on her show?
You ask me this question every week, and I tell you I don't watch her show.
I know, but I figured by now you would have at least gone to find out the answer for next week.
It's at 7 in the morning. You think I'm going to wake up at 7 on a Saturday?
But you could see it any time. Like, you can watch it at 2 in the morning if you want.
Why don't you do that? You do it.
I'm fine.
You do it.
Fine.
This is like a tennis match back and forth.
This is how every show is. We fight.
Unbelievable. Although, when we do go back and forth, we need the Pleasant Valley Landscaping Contractor Camp so that people can see you and Dave gets an extra free ad out of the whole deal.
Yeah.
Right?
What do you mean that? Where?
With what? Where?
You heard you sip that coffee really good?
Yeah.
People, this is going to be the show today. Like, I just want to prepare
just gonna
you.
be it.
Is this the first take?
All right. So, like, I want to list her as a sponsor, but I have not seen, and maybe she is. I just don't know whether she is. All right.
You know that radio, they don't show you. Like, they don't show the ad.
Yeah,
they
that's
say
kind of
it.
weird.
They say it.
She should call me. I can help her do that, like to get it on the screen. And
oh, you know how to do that?
yeah, I mean, I could help her do that.
You know how to do this?
Yeah, sure. I can figure that out. If it's going to be me and Lissy Rivas alone in a room, I'll figure it out. Trust me. Anything to be alone with her. She's the best. All right, that's it. That's the show, folks. Good night. Good night. That's it. It's all over. I don't want to. You know that all of your haters.
He doesn't know how to do it, Lissy.
Yeah. All right, Century 21 McLennan Real Estate, Brando's in North Andover, Brando's in Haverhill. I believe he's bringing in, this is how great Billy is, right? So we're giving Billy a really good price on his ads over there at Brando's in North Andover. And he came over to me at TMF last night, sad night at TMF, and he said, I got you 2 more sponsors for your show. We're going to be doing a new podcast over there. So we're starting a new podcast. We're going to start in a couple of weeks. It's going to be the second week of July, I think the third week of July. And it's going to be a foodie podcast. We're just going to talk about food. And our first guest, I believe, is going to be Mac Daddies. So we're going to have Mac Daddies come in. We're going to do that. And hopefully they're going to be sponsoring this show while we're doing the other show, because everything has to be in. There's nothing that I do that doesn't work with everything. You'll notice I'm helping Brian Shortsleeve. So Brian Shortsleeve comes here. I bring Brian Shortsleeve to TMF.
On the newspaper.
On the newspaper. So whatever I'm doing, everything kind of has to work together. But that, by the way, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to have Mike Minogan if he wants to come in. I'm going to be, I'll treat him the way I treat everybody else, badly, and I'll ask him.
A great co-host for that show.
You.
Doug McCurrier.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
It would be great.
Doug would be great.
Yeah.
I think I can't speak for him, but I think he's supporting Mike Minogan. I think he is.
Okay.
I'm not sure though. I shouldn't speak out of turn because
I think he said something about pro-life that's not going to happen.
Maybe
I'm wrong.
Okay. So, here's the thing.
He has common sense.
I think out loud. I'm kind of Trump has the same problem that gets him into the same trouble gets me in. I think out loud, so I'll say something and I'll couch it with I'm not sure and I think. But other people don't hear the I'm sure and I think. They hear what you say. They log it in their head. Then they accuse you later on of saying, you said that I was in charge of. And I've had city councilors do this to me. I'll say, well, geez, I think Councilor so-and-so is the one that spearheaded that, but I'm not sure. And then I'll get a call from the person who actually did spearhead it going, you gave someone else credit for what I did. No, I said I think. I said I'm not sure. Hear all the words. Don't get triggered by one word and then completely discount everything else in the sentence. Town Roofing, Chachi's Junk Removal, La Despierta Lawrence, my Rivas, who I think is she just started she's got to walk a fine line now, and I'm saying this because I like her.
Why do you talk so much about her every week? That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
Is she running for something?
I don't think so. All right. Never mind.
Thank you.
The Zany Pesh Law Office over there. On the go notary, Marson & Son Construction. Great time to get your construction done. You need a roof done. You need a new porch built. You got to call Ronnie Marson at Marson & Son Construction. EIS, Investigation and Gun Training. Boston Medical Center. Man, I love those guys. Boston Medical Center. They're the best. Cedar View Homes in in Methuen. Tomo and Shaken Seafood. We got to get back to Tomo, intern girl.
Yes, we do.
It's been a while since I've had a Godzilla or an All-American, and I'm craving it now.
I love the hibachi food. It's so good.
I love the hibachi if you don't have to sit at the hibachi. Because you can only see the guy, no matter where you go in the country, you could tell Chinese are communists, right? No matter where you go in the country. But it's true.
It's true.
Any Chinese food place you go in the country, they all do it exactly the same way. It's the egg in the pocket, and it's the onions that make the volcano. There's no place that I've ever gone to a Chinese hibachi where they did anything different. So
it's all the same.
It's all exactly the same. No matter, by the way, you go to Kansas,
Japanese.
It's the same thing. Oh, Japanese.
But the one here is Chinese.
Right.
He's
owned. Right.
But it's supposed to be. I think hibachi is like a culture thing,
right,
or something like that. But they are communists. You know that they're all connected through China.
Yes, of course they are. In fact, most of them are still Chinese citizens. So some of them are here on work visas.
All businesses all over the world.
Right.
In Dominican Republic, everything they get delivered is from China, and it's like an extension of China. Any Chinese businesses.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Communism.
Who else do we have? I love Tomo. We got to go to Tomo's. What are you doing after the show?
Nothing.
You want to go to Tomo's?
Yeah.
You had me at Tomo. Veteran Pathways. Oh crap! He gave me a new. Jason Gilbert from Veteran Pathways, formerly Veterans Northeast Outreach, sent me a new ad for the show. So please remember me before the show while Ken's talking. Excuse me, I'll find it and I'll send it to you.
You can send it to my email in case you forget.
I'll just forward it. What is your email?
coldcastlepodcast@gmail.com.
Okay, I'll do that when Ken's chatting.
All right.
AFC Urgent Care. Almost time to get Zaka back.
Zaka's the man.
I love Zaka. It's so funny. I don't want to veer off, but we thought we were going to hate that guy because there was a third party constantly telling us what a jerk that guy was. Somebody that we knew that knew him. And then when we met him, we were like, this doesn't seem like who we were told this guy really is. And then we started spending time with him. We realized he's actually one of the greatest guys in the world. The person who was telling us, the person that was telling us what a jerky is, just turned out to be a dick.
No, you know what it was? It's
Jealousy.
the color. No, it's the color of Zaka's skin. You know what I mean?
You could
That's
be
it.
right.
Probably racism.
And he's Muslim, so you wouldn't think.
Oh yeah,
that
yeah. So it was racism.
You wouldn't think that someone like me would be really good friends with a Muslim, but see, he's a Muslim like I was a Catholic. Like I was a Catholic that ate meat on Friday. I didn't go to church. I was a Catholic. I was raised Catholic, but I wasn't a practicing Catholic. And now I'm a Jew, and I'm barely a practicing Jew.
You do the candles?
And yeah, well, I do for Hanukkah, and I do Day of Atonement. Yom Kippur is my favorite day of the year. We do a whole show on it every year. But I don't wear it on my sleeve, and I don't practice it faithfully. And I don't think Zaka, he's the kind of Muslim that I am a Jew or I was a Catholic. So we get along really good. And I can't even call him my only Muslim friend because we've got Kamal Bozkurt, who is from Turkey, who's also Muslim, who for years I said is my only Muslim friend.
All right.
But now I got two. I don't know what to do with them now.
What is that thing called that covers the top of your head?
A kippah?
The kippah, yeah. You don't wear that.
I do on certain holidays.
Oh, really?
If I go to temple, I wear it.
Is it like glued on, or you have to wear bobby pins?
Nope, it just sits there.
It just sits there,
Yep.
really?
Yep.
Oh, interesting. Prime
Insurance, the Doug Mercurio Law Office, Pleasant Valley Landscaping Contractors. The Dave Idconsoli, Pleasant Valley Landscaping
Just
Contractor.
got a round of applause. Thank you.
Look how great she looks. Wow, Jesus.
I'm gaining weight.
Why did you? I like that. Why did you turn the camera off? People want to see you. They don't want. I'm ugly and fat. No one wants to see me. Everyone wants to see Integral. You should see the emails that I get from people after the show saying, "Why was intern girl only on the camera for like 30 seconds and you navigated?" We don't want to see you. We want to see her. And when you're talking to her, we want to see a picture of her in the lower left or upper left hand corner, so we can look at her. People want to look at you.
Really?
Yeah, you're hot. Guys want to look at you.
I'm not even trying.
I know. And by the way, folks, you should see when she is trying. Oh my God. Look at those bash pictures from 2 years ago. Oh my God. Oh my God. Wow.
I got hit on a lot that day.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
And I told you who, right?
Yes, you did.
Let me mute it. Really quick. Hold on. I'm going to mute it. Yeah, okay. Go back. Don't say those names. I know you.
And the guy that's mad at me right now from Lawrence High School, the guy that's mad at me, who didn't show up. He was there last year. He was our MC last year. He didn't show up this year.
Oh, my God.
Because he was punishing me. He was punishing me. Like, we barely noticed he was missing, but he thought he was punishing me. I was like, hey, what happened to Chris? And then afterwards, I was like, did Chris come by? And they're like, I don't think so, but maybe. Like, I barely noticed he was gone, but we saw him at Lawrence High Lumber. He's like, I didn't come because I was punishing you. I'm like, oh, we barely noticed.
Why, because of what we said on the show?
No, apparently something I posted on Facebook that he took. I don't know. He took it wrong or whatever. I didn't think he was that way, but apparently I was wrong about that,
Maybe
too.
he was on his period.
I'm right. I'm wrong about a lot of things sometimes. Who else do you have left? 4-star lighting. A free shout-out to Paul Lambert at Lambert and Randone, and, of course, JG's Ice Cream. It's always a good time for JG's Ice Cream. One more free shout-out. I had a catastrophic hardware failure on my backup hard drive. All the Valley Patriot archives are just gone. All of them going back. I have archives going back to the year 2000, 1999 to 2000. Before there was a Valley Patriot, when I used to write for the Mass News, when I used to write for Rumbo, when I used to write for the North Andover Citizen, I had all of those stories backed up, all the pictures from those stories all backed up. Everything's gone. So I went to Mr. Lowe at Jasmine's Computer Service in Salem, New Hampshire, and I brought him every laptop hard drive, every backup hard drive I'd ever had in the past, every laptop, desktop, everything that I've ever had. I had in storage. I never throw anything out because I'm always afraid someone's going to find it and steal my information. So I've never traded a phone in. I still have all my old phones, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I found all my stuff and I brought them to Mr. Lowe. And since March, he has been retrieving data off old stuff and pouring them onto a new backup hard drive. And as of this morning when he called me, he said, Tom, we've probably got about 60% of your data, when I was thinking I was going to have maybe 2%. Like, I would have been happy with pictures of my kids when they were growing up, and then that would have been the end of it. So a free shout out to Jasmine's Computer Service, Mr. Lowe, who also is a Gold Star father. He is the father of Edmund Lowe, who we raise money for every year at the Edmund Lowe.
With the U, not with the O.
No, with the O, not the U.
Oh, I thought it was.
I've been spelling it with a U, Edmund, and for 20 years nobody ever corrected me. And then finally, you know who picked it up?
Doug Mercurio.
Doug Mercurio, of course.
The man.
Doug Mercurio. All right, so a couple of quick things. Yeah, you can put him on camera.
Okay.
People, unlike other guests, he doesn't care if people hate him for what I say because they blame him anyway. Heather Plunkett's up there. You're friends with him. How could you be friends with him?
I'm protecting him because he's running, you know.
You want to hear a funny story?
Absolutely. Does it involve Heather Plunkett?
Absolutely. So
then the answer is always yes.
So I learned a long time ago, 15 years of serving.
What a psycho she is.
No. Let's tell the story. This is funny. So 15 years on the city council and the school committee, and I learned a long time ago, don't ever invoke someone's name when you give a speech or comments during a session. Okay? So I made a comment about taxpayers, and I talked about how outside people, some of the teachers, would go to the podium, make comments, and they weren't direct Methuen taxpayers or voters.
Right.
Which they have a right to do. They have a constitutional right, and I support that. So after the meeting, Heather came up to me and said, Member Willette. Right? You attacked me as being a racist, so congratulations on that.
Member Willette.
Right, so Member Willette.
You
know, I'm a Methuen taxpayer too. I just want to tell you, I said, did I invoke your name at all? And she said, no. I said, did I invoke
Shut the fuck up.
No, excuse me. Did I invoke your name? She said, no. I said, then have a good evening. Bye-bye. Nothing else. You don't vote for me. You know, the Shabilias, they don't vote for me.
Right.
The ultra liberals don't vote for me. I still got reelected.
They're not even liberals. They're just communists.
I don't understand, because the Democratic Party, I went to the Democratic breakfast. I didn't even go to the breakfast, but I went in the past.
Yep.
School committee, they had like the poll.
Yep.
I got 38 votes.
That's awesome.
And I didn't attend, didn't contribute, didn't have people at the breakfast, no polling, and they got 38 votes.
That's awesome.
Yep. So there's a base out there. And they come up to me, too, and they said, you know, kudos on the former superintendent being removed and fighting for that, and kudos to the Valley Patriot on that.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so I just want to say people, but
by the way, I did not want the superintendent removed. The longer she's there, the better the stories I have.
I understand
people
that.
People have no clue.
That was
trending.
Yeah, it was damaging to the Methuen Public Schools, and I'm not going to go into details because potentially there could be something down the line, and I don't want to give any ammunition to anybody. But again, I did not vote for that person's contract. I was not part of the no confidence.
I guess we're into the Ken Willette portion of the show now.
Well, I defer to you. I'm sorry. I'm taking.
I was just going to do the.
He has information though. He was about to give us some juicy information.
I know. But I wanted to just thank everybody for TMF.
I feel like a bad spouse right now.
We jumped in. That's all. But I just wanted to thank everybody last night. It was our last night at the bus station for TMF.
I was supposed to go. I'm sorry.
Oh boy, me and Nancy's really hurt.
No, I texted Michael. And I let
you
him
texted
know.
Michael, but not Nancy.
I had to finish payroll.
But you texted Michael, not Nancy. You went around her. You should have texted her because you pinky promised, and she said all night she pinky promised, and she held her finger out like this. She was very unhappy. Yeah, I know.
Okay,
but still.
thank you.
So I want to thank everyone last night. It was a very somber night for TMF. It was a tough night for me because I took it as a personal failure because I should have been able to make that happen. I should have been able to put that across the finish line for Michael and Brian, but he betrayed me. There's just no way around it. He's still my friend, but he's.
Did he show up?
No, he did
Nobody
not.
showed up from Lawrence?
No, none of the Lawrence officials showed up at all.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, sure.
So I just want to say for the record that I think you have a big asset in Brian Shortsleeve.
I agree.
If he's elected as governor, I think Michael and yourself did a tremendous job on behalf of the homeless of Lawrence. I think you guys are tremendous assets. I think you do have a victory because you have a different location that's really near, I think, the existing one that you were able to.
They're right next door.
Okay. And I will, once I get healthier, I will be part of that. I will attend with my son because I think it's very important to see the homeless and that they're human beings and they need assistance at times, and we need always the Christian or Jewish faith is to uplift individuals. I will be making a donation from my campaign at some point in my fundraiser that will be upcoming. I will be asking people to donate items that we'll be donating to Michael at TMF. So I just want to announce
Now,
that
don't
as well.
you feel like a racist because you support ICE deporting people who are here illegally, who are violating our laws and aren't supposed to be here? Don't you feel like a racist? Because Heather Plunkett got up at a meeting and she literally called you a racist and a fascist, I believe, because you hold the exact same position that the dark-skinned Dominican mayor of Lawrence, Brian DePina, holds. So apparently he's also a racist who hates Latinos.
Well, the funny thing about it, right, and I always look at the ICE Facebook posts, the FBI in Boston, because they all work in collaboration. And if you look at the worst of the worst website, and you look at, for example, Ireland and France, those aren't people of color.
Right.
Those are white individuals, French, Irish, and British, and sometimes Russian. So the premise that exclusively people of color, because you're talking about Asians, Europeans, Russians who are here illegally committing crimes, and we're talking about the worst of the worst, the murderers, the rapists, the child molesters, the drug dealers, the gangbangers, the gun traffickers, okay, the cartels. All those elements, right? Why should they be near your homes, near your schools, near your playgrounds? So we have a tragedy like a Lake and Riley.
Oh, that was
Right.
sad.
They don't care, though.
But, I
out.
honestly, at this point, if it's an
I'm out.
80-20 issue, Tom,
Yep.
and we are 80% support in this country to remove illegals with criminal records. Let's at least do that. But they don't want to do that.
No,
want to
there was not one illegal alien they want pushed out of the country because they hate this country. And they could, what's sad,
No.
listen, if they just were honest and said, we hate America, we hate our own race, we feel so guilty about slavery that we hate white people even though we're white, and we want to import as many brown-skinned people to destroy the white population as we can, then I would at least respect them.
It's manipulation. That's what it is. They
So-
want to run with this unrealistic agenda of like not being, oh, we're not racist. We don't want anybody to go. It's just manipulation to make other people think that they care. When in reality, the most racist people I have met in my 25 years in this country have been liberal Democrats. Go
Right.
ahead, Mr. Willette.
So I just want to add, and you made some valid points. I just want to add is that there is specific polling that consistently, whether it's Republican administrations and Democratic administrations, Republicans have an appreciation for this country and the love of this country.
Yeah.
Between Republicans and Democrats, consistently over a course of years, the Democratic support for this country, the favorability from the Democrats for this country has plummeted.
They hate freedom. That's the problem. That's
They
why
hate-
that's
well-
why they've turned on Israel. Israel's the only democracy in the Middle East, and that's why
Yeah.
they turned on Israel. Because if you look, Arab Muslims have more rights. Arab Muslim women have more rights in Haifa and Jerusalem than any Jew or any Catholic or any atheist or any gay person has in any of the 22 Muslim-run countries.
So the only thing I want to add to that, because you know my position on Israel, and I'm strongly supportive of Israel and their right to exist. What I want to emphasize is that the premise of the opposite side is completely false because they talk about apartheid. Well, apartheid was oppression of the Africans down in South Africa. Now it's the reverse. The Africans are now going after the white farmers.
But you can't say that, though, because
Oh,
it's
I'm
okay
saying
to,
it.
it's
I
okay
really
to-
don't care.
But it's okay to victimize white people. You should know that. That's the Democrat
Well,
Party
the thing
platform
about it,
now.
you're talking about critical race theory. So automatically, regardless of our ancestry, and like 600,000 people died in the Civil War, and a lot of that was the Northern troops fighting to free the slaves and preserve the Union. So the white individuals, and they were abolitionists who risked their lives to free the slaves. So they have this premise that white people have this complex that automatically they had to apologize for the sins of slavery. Not for nothing, the person on The View, Sunny, she had a heritage that was slave owners. So she went to a person, I think it was Lewis Gates, and or Henry Gates, and he had a person that they do a review of her background, and they said, that, yeah, your ancestry were slave owners, okay? But even that, right?
But why does that matter?
You can't be responsible for your ancestors,
Right.
because then
My uncles used to kill people. my older, like my grandmother's uncles. Is that
Yeah.
my problem? Is
Yeah.
that something that I have to pay for? I don't have to pay. Not,
But going back
not
to
in a bad way. Sorry, but they
But
did.
going back to Israel very quickly, is they talk about apartheid. Well, so Palestinians, they serve on the Supreme Judicial Court. You have Arabs that serve in the Knesset, which is like the National Congress. Okay, you Arabs have full rights, and Arabs serve in the IDF. So, and then you, like you said, Tommy, people
wouldn't
that
say Arabs,
the gay
though.
rights.
I wouldn't say Arabs.
Well,
because-
Palestinians and
Well, they
Arabs.
are Arab.
They
They're
are
Arab
Arabs.
Muslims.
Yeah.
No,
They're
Arabs means they speak Arabic, but Lebanese speak Arabic.
Well,
and
Lebanese
they are
is
Catholic.
separate. Yeah, so Lebanese.
But they're Arabs.
Yeah, but
Arabs
that's
not a-
Lebanon.
But he's talking about the Muslim community.
No.
No,
So you
Arabs.
got So the Arabs are in Israel, and there's
Oh,
like
okay, the
again, you
Arabs
got to
in
be
Israel.
careful because like in Iran is like the Shiite Muslims,
Okay.
and they hate the Sunni Muslims, which is Saudi Arabia.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's almost like think of the Middle Ages when you had the Protestants and the Catholics going at each other.
Yeah.
You had wars between Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and Iran because they represent different sects of Islam.
Got
So
it.
Islam,
Oh, so
right?
difficult.
Obviously, they penalize the LGBTQ community. They would throw gays off of buildings and stone them to death. Women's rights are really just totally off the table. Afghanistan is disgusting.
Afghanistan is the worst.
But the Democrats and the Shabilias and all the people that support them and Sharon Paul love that. They love that there is still slavery. They love that there's still slavery, that the Arabs still own slaves, that there are still slaves in Africa. They love that. They love that because they never once, ever, will come out and publicly condemn it. They will condemn Israel. They will condemn America. They'll call us a fascist country. They'll call our president Hitler. They'll attack Israel. They'll call it genocide. But they'll never once talk about the 22 countries where women can't vote, they can't go out in public without getting stoned to death.
Can't go to schools.
They can't go to schools.
universities.
Gays get murdered. There are zero Jews because they've all been assassinated. There are zero Catholics or Christians because they've all been murdered. Nobody ever complains about that. You have no freedom of speech, no freedom of religion. You have no gun rights. You have no rights, period. That's okay. That's okay.
But this country sucks.
But this country
You
sucks,
know-
and so does Israel.
You know, they fight so much for immigration here, right?
Yeah,
And
because
when
they try
an
to turn us
immigrant-
into a third world country.
No, but an immigrant, you give an immigrant here 15 years, they start changing their minds.
Right.
They're going to eventually become conservatives. That's
Right.
what happens.
Yep.
It happened to me. It happens to a lot of us.
So, not for nothing, the polling data confirms what you're saying. Half of Hispanics voted for Trump,
Yeah.
especially the male Hispanics.
They must be racists.
Well, we're all racist.
Look at me,
Tommy.
Mr.
We are.
Mr. Willette.
We are all
because,
racist.
Because it's critical race theory.
no.
so reparations,
Racism means you prefer your race above others, or you prefer, I prefer to marry a Dominican man, that sort of thing.
Well, it's the belief
know
that
what I mean?
some races are inherently better than
Discrimination.
others.
Discrimination is the wrong thing.
So again, to just go back on what you're saying, right? Is nothing wrong with like the Lebanese community? They would love to marry a Lebanese girl or a Lebanese guy.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong. What
No.
the problem is that you automatically assume because of the color of your skin that you're a racist. So
Discrimination.
that goes against Martin Luther King and the equality of opportunity. All he wanted to tell, and this is my DEI Bible, is this. I read this all the
Oh,
time.
that's beautiful.
I bring this to every
Was
meeting.
that the letters from Soma?
Yeah, absolutely. I recommend this everything to everybody. He talks about the equality of opportunity. He realized that the Dixiecrats, Jim Crow, slavery, Reconstruction, violating the civil rights of lynching, all that stuff was the Democrats for about 150 years.
Well, Martin Luther King was a Republican. Most people don't know that. Martin Luther King was a Republican, and most people refuse to even accept that, but it's true.
But the thing about Martin Luther King, you notice, is that he had Catholics, whites, Jews, part of his coalition for civil rights. So nowadays, the liberals say, well, no, the Catholics are evil, the Jews are evil, the whites are evil. And the thing about it is, the Republicans, you look at the history, the constitutional amendments, that was all Republicans. There was no Democratic votes. And when LBJ had to do the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act, he needed Republicans to overcome a Democratic filibuster. And even going into the 1970s in Democratic Boston, all the fights about the busing, that's all Democrats. All the attacks against the African American community that you and I think are repulsive, that was the Democrats. So I don't want to hear from the Democratic Party that all of a sudden we're supposed to forget since the time of Jefferson and the Dred Scott decision and the Civil War and nullifying Lincoln as the duly elected president of the United States, the first Republican president, by the way. So if you talk about January 6th, I can do April 1861 and tell you that all these states left the Union because they couldn't handle a Republican president.
Right.
So your January 6th is
Kind of like now.
Well, they're about to do that because the thing about I have a premise.
Check your email.
And then the Democratic Party, and this is built by the New York Times, they're losing millions of votes, registered voters. They're switching to Republican. The New York Times did a study on it, okay, and it's going even into the Trump administration. People are fleeing the Democratic Party. What you have right now for the coalition of the Democratic Party is extremist Muslims and outright communists. If you look at New York City, they threw dogs out, the incumbents. They treated them like dogs, right? Like really strong.
Not that they didn't deserve it.
Well, one was against Trump because like everything's Trump, evil, impeachment. I'm tired of that garbage. I really am. And I'll have a conversation with liberal Democrats, and I had liberal friends at the State House. I will be interested in that conversation. But if your premise is you support Hitler, we're fascists, we're evil, critical race theory, that's a non-starter for me.
Communists need a boogeyman in order to bring themselves to power. They did this all over Europe in the last century, where they call everybody who they don't like a fascist because to them fascism is the biggest threat to communism. And so they want to make sure that all the communists know those are the enemies. But communists, by the way, throughout world history, have murdered 1,000 times more people.
Absolutely.
And created 1,000 times more genocides than every fascist put together times 10.
Can I just say something? I feel like the Democratic Party deconstructed the black families, the Latino families with all this aid and all this support.
They did it on purpose.
When have you ever seen somebody be successful living off the system? They will
Never.
always be struggling. There will be family separations. When there's no food, there's no money around. There's a lot of fights between the husband, the wife. They're always separated. You know what I mean? I feel like that's the Democratic Party right there.
I want to add to it, and Tommy's mentioned it before, and very astute, and I've read him. At first, I wasn't a big fan of him, but I've read him, right? Is exactly what you're saying is what Malcolm X said.
Yeah.
Is that the worst enemy of the African American is the liberal.
White liberal.
Wow.
And LBJ said, I'll have those N-words voting for me for generations. It's all a means to an end. They stole the election in 1960 against Richard Nixon in Chicago and Texas. They tried to steal the election in Florida in 2000. And you can't tell me in 2020 that a guy in a basement that was called a racist by Harris, that was unpopular, that was a vice president, and that he was losing his mind, all of a sudden got like 81 million votes. That's an impossibility. And then all of a sudden you had Obama at his high watermark at 69 million. And every single election,
I can already hear Kelsey Shabilia kicking her dog.
You know, but Trump has increased his total every single time, and that's without voter ID in a lot of these states. So illegals vote in these states. You know,
of course they do.
Because you had a superintendent in Des Moines, Iowa.
But Ken, they're not allowed to vote, so they can't.
Oh,
they
my
don't
God.
vote because they're not allowed to.
But wait a minute.
It says it on paper, Ken.
But wait a minute, Tommy. I disagree with you, Tommy. You would think
How can you disagree? It's written
Wait a
down.
minute, Tommy. I just want to tell you something. There's a thing called the Valley Patriot. And didn't the Valley Patriot, I don't know, you might be familiar with that paper, right? The Valley Patriot, didn't they do a major investigation of a city councilor that went to jail?
We broke the story. That's why she went to jail.
And then Des Moines, Iowa, a superintendent who was illegal was voting. A Chinese
police chief
national.
in Kansas.
Yeah, you can. Virginia, they had 6,000 voters that were illegal that they wanted to purge under a law that a Democratic governor implemented. Biden fought it with his DOJ. So the Supreme Court, I think, had to step in. We need voter ID. We need the SAVE Act. We need to save this country because your illegal alien vote is suppressing my civil rights vote. My vote is legitimate. Now, if you're a liberal and if you want to cancel my vote, that's America. You used to have a couple that would be, one would be a Democrat, a Republican, that would get in their buggy, go to the polling and cancel each other's votes. That's America. You fight a good, legitimate fight and then you win the election, that's great. But if you have illegals, dead people, Ballot harvesting, you go to nursing homes.
But it's not even illegals either. Let me
It's
just,
everything.
But let me
It's
tell you,
terrible.
But let me tell you a quick story, and I actually still have I still have the audio of this just for proof, because when it happened in 1999, I was floored then. So there was a guy named Jack McGovern whom everyone loved in the Merrimack Valley. Jack McGovern was Senator Patricia McGovern's uncle, I believe. Red. We called him Red McGovern. It's Jack McGovern.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Right?
He's a great guy.
Jack. Okay. So Red McGovern called my show one day, and he was going on and on about how he voted for, I think it was Mike Sullivan. Well, no, it would have been before Mike Sullivan, so it probably would have been Patty Dowling or Patricia, whoever the mayor was. But he called in and he said, went on and on and on and on, live on the air, and I still have the tape of him saying how he voted for this counselor and that counselor and this. And my co-host, who I didn't know this information until he said it out loud, said, "Hey, Jack, don't you live in Methuen?" He goes, "Well, yeah, but I still keep and maintain my address in Lawrence."
Yep.
Okay. So I also know someone who lives in Salisbury who has a Lawrence address, who owns property in Lawrence but does not live in Lawrence, who comes to Lawrence every year, and she calls me every year, and I'm not going to mention the name because it's not about that. It's just about making the point.
Yep.
She calls me every year and says, "Tom, who do you like for city council?" I'm in district. I think she's in District B now. She's in A. On Jackson Street, and she's like, "Who should I vote for school committee? Who do you like? Who do you not like?" And we'll work it out. So we're not even talking about illegals now. Now we're talking about American citizens who just don't live in the community that they are actively voting in, knowing that they don't live in the community that they're actively voting in. So we can talk about illegal aliens, but it's not just illegal aliens. This is not a race issue.
Nope.
This is about protecting the integrity of an election. I moved into North Andover in the year 2000. I was still getting mail in 2003 from Lawrence. I was still getting voter registration stuff from Lawrence. I was still getting everything from Lawrence. And I could have, if I wanted to, I could have voted by absentee ballot in Lawrence elections if I wanted to, living on Brightwood Avenue, North Andover. What's that?
Didn't someone move from Methuen to Manchester and he was still like...
He was still on the city council.
Yeah.
Joe Ferretra moved to Manchester, New Hampshire while he was a city councilor and zoomed in from a different state and continued to represent and vote. He didn't vote at the ballot. He voted at the table by Zoom as a city councilor. So Ken is 100% right. But let's not turn this into a racial issue, because while it may be for some people a racial issue, that doesn't make it a racial issue, because there are many people who vote in communities or even in districts. I know people, I remember when Nilka Alvarez was a city councilor in Lawrence, she was the District C city councilor. She moved to Prospect Hill. She willingly removed herself as a city councilor. She willingly resigned. She willingly said, "I cannot vote. I don't live in that district anymore." But had she not done that, no one would have known unless somebody caught her, and she could have continued to vote at that address in a different district, right? She could have continued to vote as a councilor for that district. She chose not to, but she could have. So this is really about protecting the rights of people who live in your community, in your congressional district, in your Senate district, where you're allowed to vote. Only the people who live in that district should be allowed to vote. Only American citizens should be allowed to vote. Only people who qualify should be allowed to vote. If you're a felon and you had your voting rights taken away, you should not be allowed to vote.
So can I add something to that?
You absolutely
And I can add like a story for you guys.
Sure.
I think it'd be story time. So you have Judicial Watch, which has been phenomenal, and I recommend people to go on their website.
Mm-hmm.
They were able to purge across the country about 5 million ineligible voters. 5 million, okay? So what you're talking about, like we got in the universe, so we talked about illegal voters. We talked about ballot harvesting. We talked about people that live in different communities that's still on voter rolls. Okay, you talk about people who died, and they still have people voting. Right, so I'll give you the story, is that I moved briefly to try to save my marriage. We moved to Salem, New Hampshire for a little bit, okay? The marriage didn't work out. And
a little bit more Homentassin and it would have been fine.
Maybe a little further, maybe, no?
Well,
a little further. That
know.
was like too close, maybe.
But this is a funny story. So
Just
I
kidding.
used to still work at the State House in Boston. I used to take the Boston commuter because the T was jacked up with the fees. So I'm around where Manzy's liquor store was. So the bus goes there. It was very affordable. I would pick up like in Methuen, Lawrence, Andover, and go into Boston, and then do the same thing in the evening. I'm going to mention the elected official just to say it was a Methuen elected official. Like, again, I'm not going to mention the name. The person comes up and says, Kenny, how you doing? I said, I'm doing good. How are you? I said, I'm good luck in your election. And he says, make sure you vote today. I said, well, so-and-so. I said, I don't live in Methuen anymore. I live in Salem. I'm registered to vote in Salem. But I said, good luck to you. I really didn't like the guy, but I think he's corrupt, but I'm not going to mention the person's name.
I already know who it is.
You might know who it is, okay? But, I mean, you speculate. I'm not going to confirm, okay? So he said, quote, unquote, he says, oh, that doesn't matter. You can still vote anyways. That shows you that there's a problem with the Democratic Party.
And it's rampant.
Of course it is. Because the thing about it, remember, I'm going to mention the person's name, and I really don't care. It was Willie Lantigua, right? And
I broke every one of those stories.
Yeah, and again, the Valley Patriot was right on the front lines of voter integrity and election integrity. Why would you need the Secretary of State's office to send observers, like it's the United Nations, to observe an election that was hair tight, this tight in an election between
the entire apparatus of the Democrat Party, including Mark DeSalvo from North Andover, descended into Lawrence, quote, to make sure Willie doesn't cheat again.
Yeah.
Really?
So that,
and then when it was all over, they were like, there's no such thing as voter fraud.
Yeah.
Who could believe it?
So who won that time? Was it Dan?
Dan won, but barely. Barely.
Because if you didn't have the observers,
like 11 votes, 12 votes.
And it went to a recount. And if you didn't have the observers from the Secretary of State's office, right, more than likely, and I'm not saying, again, like Willie did some phenomenal stuff.
He did.
He knew how to campaign.
A lot of people.
Again, I would sit down with him. I think, Tom, you sit down with him.
I like Willie.
He's a genius.
I like him now. I didn't like him back then.
But he's a genius politically, and I can have a conversation. So long as you don't call me Hitler or a fascist or a redneck, I can sit down.
We are?
I think so.
Uh-oh.
No way.
Yep.
Let me see.
Yep. I think we're off.
So the internet is working?
Yeah, well, the show is now down.
Oh.
Yep.
I didn't touch anything. Let me check.
Yeah, it's showing that we did 40 minutes, and that's it.
Oh, yeah, it stopped at 28 minutes, but it's still recording.
Still recording?
Yeah, that we recording.
Can we get back up live while we're recording?
Yeah.
Can try?
I can try. I'm sorry. I didn't even. How the heck? Somebody put. Is anyone else having constant press play?
Yeah, at the beginning, I guess it was tough. A tough signal.
Maybe it's here. The internet.
All right, so
here.
why don't we keep talking and see if you can get us back live? Because at least it'll be all one file when I post it on YouTube and then when I repost it, I guess.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Ken. I guess we'll do what we can here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm working with you, and if you want me to come back again, it's based on your invitation. It happens with YouTube and everything. It's not.
This is the first time it's happened here.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it might be Heather in the back room somewhere. I don't know.
Cutting wires.
It's a big conspiracy
Kelsey
theory.
Shabilia is back there cutting wires.
Something's happening. And the funny thing
These look
about
like
it,
non-transgender wires. Let's cut these.
And the funny thing about it, I have to say this for the record, right? I still have them, Dan and Kelsey, on my messenger. That if any time they wanted to talk about an issue, I did not.
They don't care about issues.
But I'm just saying to them, from my perspective, I was reelected. They were not elected. Okay, but I could still talk if they wanted to talk without invoking the race card.
They can't.
That's
not
the
interested.
problem. But I mean, again, like this,
their whole function is to distract and deflect. It's to talk about book banning so that nobody talks about the fact that a teacher was reading about masturbation to 13-year-old girls and boys in a classroom behind their parents' back. So that's why they talked about fascism and book banning, because they didn't want you to talk about what the actual topic was. It was all about the distraction and deflection, all of it.
What I do is, I do it through the vehicle of the Valley Patriot, which I'm very appreciative of. I did book reports. I've read those books. I read the Diary of a Part-Time Indian, Gender Queer. I read, and then there's another book I'm in the process of reading that I'll do a book report on. I think you read the book, and then you get a sense of, listen, might be some artistic value to something, but when you have it like pornographic material in it, okay, and like Amazon, Kindle specifically says, Gender Queer is designed for 18 plus. It's not designed for minor students. So I think, honestly, and I've sent the email to the superintendent. I don't know. You guys are coming back and forth. I don't know. But
we're trying to get back up live while you're talking.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure. Okay. So, like, my concern is this, that Methuen could be in violation of the Supreme Court decision, Mahmoud versus Taylor, at times, and it's called the
Great ruling.
Yeah, and then
Didn't go far enough, but it was a good ruling.
And what it is, it was a message that you had a coalition of Christians, Jews, and Muslims working together. Okay, and it was saying there was they were being denied alternative curriculum, and they were being force-fed curriculum and books. And that's, again, if you listen to some of the speeches without invoking the people's names, right, what they want to do is say, we are bypassing the parents.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Listen, this is the biggest abortion we've ever had for a show.
I mean,
but if you can push through it, we're trying to get
I'm
live.
hearing the back feed and stuff like that.
I think we're getting back live. I think we are.
Yeah, something's going on here. I think I have some theories, but
Right.
I don't know. But I thought it was a great show. It's just that we having technical difficulties.
This is literally I think this happened like the very first show, and then that was it.
Yeah.
So the thing is, it says that it's live, but it's not letting me pull the live feed
Okay.
up. So what it's pulling up is the old feed of. That's why you're hearing that. I should just turn that down.
Yeah.
So I don't think we are live, but we are, by the way, still recording. So the people who catch us on the rebroadcast will see it.
We're not going to skip a beat.
Yeah.
We fly with everything.
So we're talking about a lot of national stuff, but you're running for state rep. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, and so you didn't decide to run until after there was nobody in the race. And this is, by the way, the reason why Methuen should stop canceling primaries at the local level for city council and mayor, right? Because a lot of times people will look at, hey, look, nobody else ran. Maybe I'll run on a writing campaign in the primary. But at the local races for the municipal elections, they don't have a primary if there isn't enough people to eliminate. So, so just for Nick, it says we're live, but we're not. And it dumped us after 40 minutes, and we're trying to get back up live. Huh? No, it's not. It says that we're live, but it's not showing us live. What was I saying, Ken?
So we were talking about the reason why I went into the race.
Can you share that on my page, please? Yeah. So you decided you're going to run after you looked at the landscape, and it was the current state rep versus nobody. There's nobody running against her. And so after the deadline to turn in stickers, to turn in signatures, you decided what?
So basically, I think it was the straw that killed the camel's back was the income tax ballot question being killed.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was an absolute abomination that the Attorney General, who is charged with reviewing the constitutionality of ballot questions, vetted it, reviewed it, submitted it, and cleared it as a summary. And then the Supreme Judicial Court nullified it and killed the ballot question.
Okay.
So 66% of voters in Boston Globe, I think Suffolk University poll, indicated they were in favor of an income tax reduction. The Mass Opportunity Alliance also did a separate poll with teachers that they were supportive of the income tax reduction from 5 to 4%. And I think that would be something that would help people that are dealing with mass save and high energy bills. And I think that was the straw that killed the camel's back, that motivated me. I really wasn't going to run in the race. But what I think would happen is what they're doing to Art Diner DeZaglio is an absolute outrage.
Don't get me going.
And I think it's the Democrats, Independents, and Republicans are saying, you know what? Let's all marshal our resources and just march on Beacon Hill.
So what do you need now? So the primary is September 1st, which, by the way, is horrible. The primary should be in October, right?
You're dealing with different logistics, and
September 1st. It's not even Labor Day at that point.
No. So what this is the thing is, I'm well known in Methuen, and I have Luis Robles is a fantastic. He's the voter outreach specialist for my campaign.
Didn't we endorse him for school committee in Lawrence last time around? All right, good. You got one of my people helping.
Oh, one of your people. I didn't see.
One of my people.
Yeah,
He's a member of the Valley family.
One of your
you got intern girl. You got Luis Robles. You got John Regal. You got Lily.
I think it might be my politics might be matching up with these people too. But I'll give you the.
No, I'm not taking any credit at all.
Yeah. But I mean, we think alike, Tommy, you and me, and we get stubborn at times, and we have a little side arguments. But I think you have done a tremendous service in the Merrimack Valley. I have to say that, and I'm not even kissing your ass. There's nothing else in the Merrimack Valley. The Tribune is so woke. I want to vomit. It's
You
such
can
a
pay them.
it's such a liberal rag. Like you said, it's bought and paid for by the teachers union, which is kind of funny with the teachers union, is that they pushed through the millionaires tax, right? And only 52% of the voters voted for it. So 48% of the people said, I don't want a millionaires tax. Okay, so that was a sizable amount of opposition. So I said, okay, you're going to have this millionaires tax. Oh, we're going to be helping the schools, and we're going to have all this money, right? It went to the T, a lot of the money, okay? And then they had an $800 million surplus. $800 million surplus from the millionaires tax. Is that helping with the schools? Nope. It's going to probably go into services for illegals and to bolster the largest state bureaucracy in Massachusetts history.
How stupid are the teachers' unions who went out and consistently, and even to this minute, consistently advocate for illegal aliens, who got upwards of $5 billion out of the state budget, out of state taxpayers?
Well, the thing
and
about
now every single city in town is cutting education because the state is not meeting their responsibility to pay for education for the local level. So now think about all those Methuen teachers from all the Methuen Teachers Union who ran around crying that we can't be racist. We have to give all these things for the illegals, bring them all here, give them all free stuff. Now it's coming out of their pocket. They're not even smart enough to be on their own side. They don't even realize that $5 billion for illegals resulted in Methuen and Lawrence and North Andover getting fewer dollars from the state for education. Like, the money would be there for you if you were smart enough to be on your own side. But they're not even smart enough to be on their own side.
Aren't they blaming Donald Trump for this?
Of course. What, are they going to blame themselves? When was the last time you saw a woman blame herself?
No, I know.
Right, well, this is what I'm saying. And we all know
right.
the teachers' unions are run by women. They're all run by rich, white, privileged women. That's what it's run by.
Well, and I've had this conversation with you, too, and I have no problem saying this. I offered to be interviewed by them, right? What do you think the first two questions were that they posed to me?
Oh, let me guess. I got it. Pick me.
Starts with some initials. What's the initials?
All the things you've written in the Valley Patriot.
Yeah, so they
And why are you friends with Tom Duggan?
And
well, that day that goes without saying.
And
I'm
LGBTQ.
reconsidering that, but also, we might have to go to Tomos and iron it out. But the thing about that too, which is the funniest thing, the little side story on that is the Democratic Party. And I have Democratic friends, I have liberal friends,
Yep.
and I used to do bets with them. I would do bets on Trump. I would do bets on congressional races. I've had arguments with John Husianitis.
Don't even talk to that guy. He's such a loser.
But you know what it is? He is like the Occupy Democrats memes.
Yeah.
Right, and that's all he feeds into the thing. It's not really even arguing anymore. And he was a teacher at Central Catholic, but I still have these conversations because I think feeding into the facts and representing your viewpoint and representing your party, right? So this whole thing, I'm interviewed by them, right? It wasn't about how are you going to support the schools, how are you going to be doing academic enhancements, how are you going to be dealing with universal lunches, a whole bunch of different things, transportation, high costs of health care, special education, circuit breaker. No, the two questions were DEI.
Right.
And again, like I said, what I invoke is Martin Luther King. I subscribe to equality of opportunity.
They hate Martin Luther King.
But
they pay lip service on Martin Luther King Day, and then the rest of the year they just go back to
But
80s.
the thing about the Supreme Court ruled that affirmative action in academics and admissions is unconstitutional.
Of course it's unconstitutional. It's called racism.
Because the racism wasn't necessarily just against the white people. It was against Asians. Yeah. So that was a big factor.
But can we talk about DEI for a minute? Because the Valley Patriot did a story, probably one of my favorite stories ever. And we've done a lot of stories, but this one's definitely one of my favorite. 94% of the teachers in Methuen are rich white women. And I say rich because you're richer than the Latino that lives on Park and Hampshire Street in Lawrence.
You have everything you need.
I wonder who fed you those pictures. I don't know.
And on top of that, 50% or more of the students in Methuen schools are not white. So they run around preaching DEI, but we all know they're full of shit because they don't walk the walk. And so when I called this to their attention, I got all the people, all the Shabilia types reached out to me and said, "But Tom, they aren't applying for the jobs, right. Why aren't they applying for? See, most people who don't know better would just stop there and go, oh, they're probably right. They don't apply for the jobs. But those of us who know how this works ask the follow-up question that they never want to answer. And the reason why they don't apply for the jobs is, where do they advertise for these jobs? The Boston Globe. How many fucking Latinos do you know read the Boston Globe? Zero. Are you reaching out to La Mega? Are you reaching out to Power? Are you reaching out to Rumbo? Are you advertising in Siglo 21? Are you advertising in El Planeta? Are you advertising in Bay State Banner if they're still around? Are you going and recruiting where the Latinos are? You are not. Why are you not? Because you don't want diversity, equity, inclusion among your own ranks. You want to preach it to everyone else so you could sit up on your high horse and say, I'm not one of those racist white people. And that's the definition of virtue signaling. And that's why I hate these teachers' unions, all of them in general. Sometimes they're right about things. I supported their last contract, never get credit for it. I supported their last contract, but I got to tell you, the lying and the deceit and the dishonesty and the hypocrisy needs to be pointed out, because these people are full of shit. They want to talk sex to your kids, but God forbid you tell her she's got a nice dress when she's leaving school. That's sexual harassment. Yeah. So we can talk about anal sex and masturbation to children behind their parents' backs. But if you tell me that, hey, you look really pretty today, that's sexual harassment, and I'm going to do something to stop you from doing it. Everything they say they believe in is in direct contradiction to everything else they say they believe in. Everything.
So can I?
That was my rant. Sorry.
No, that's you. You made some valid points. And again, I just want to say for the record, I have a lot of conservative teacher friends, and they're scared of volunteering anything. So they feed me confidential information, and I always keep them in confidence. I would never invoke any of their names, even to this day.
Well, I would,
because. You can't do that because you're the whistleblowers.
I know
Mr. Tommy Duggan over here. Come on. But anyways, like in terms of like the conservative teachers and everything like that, and then, when we were trying to find solutions was with the GIC, which I've been advocating for 25 years, and the mayor and I voted against the budget, right? We were both vilified until he got a victory. Because I said, I'll do school choice. I'll bring the kids from Lawrence to here to save teachers' jobs. Mm-hmm. These teachers, some of them, and I have the emails to back it up, but I'm protecting the names. They wanted to cut reading specialists and the teachers. So the frontline teachers, the youngest teachers, they were throwing them to the wolves because they didn't want to participate in the GIC, which I participated in for 24 years. And I'll give you a story. I had my twins raised under the GIC. My daughter early on had an issue with formula. She needed a special type of formula that was ultra expensive, right? Absolutely covered by Harvard Pilgrim. No issues at all. Very low copayment. It was like Elementum or something like that, Similac or whatever it was.
How many kids do you have?
I have, I think I have two. I have twins, but I mean, I don't have anybody doing.
That's a Tommy Duggan accolade.
You like that? That was again. I'm joking, folks. I have two. I was married, didn't work out. I have full custody of my kids. I love them very much. Brady and
we
Kendall.
both fell in love with Jewish women, and it both ended in disaster.
You know what? That's you fall in love, and you go da 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 da, a little dance, and it's.
Oh yeah, because the woman is the bad one. But go ahead, Mr. Willette.
Well,
80% of all divorces are initiated by women.
It takes two to tango, and I think I can speak like an hour about the relationship, but I have full custody of my kids, and we move on. But I think just overall,
that says a lot in today's day and age when a guy has custody of his kids.
Well, yeah, it definitely was a factor.
That definitely says something.
But my premise is that my pledge is I will go into the Lawrence radio shows, and as long as I have a translator, I will go to the neighborhood meetings. I give my pledge to you, Tommy, that I will participate in any debate that you sponsor.
Excellent.
Anytime, any place.
I've already reached out to her and asked her if she'd debate you, and I didn't get an answer, so I think that means no, but I'm going to ask again.
But will you have a debate and ask me hard questions?
Absolutely.
Okay, I will definitely give that commitment.
We're having him on the show, too.
Yeah.
And I will definitely – Louise is fantastic. I'm already getting a huge amount of Hispanic conservatives.
Who's Louise?
Luis Robles.
Oh. Louise.
I call him Louis. Is it Louise?
Well, he likes it. It doesn't matter. It's interchangeable.
Oh, okay.
I asked him personally.
It's like those Latinos have a different word for everything.
He says interchangeable. He
Those
says
Latinos.
okay. Yeah. Wait, that's Tommy. That's not me. I
Right,
don't
yeah.
say
Oh, we're joking, we're joking.
Yeah.
Heather will be crying at the next meeting.
Yeah.
You sat there and said nothing, Mr. Willette.
But the
By
thing
the way, can we just get to Heather for 1 second? 'Cause one of the
Oh,
things
cool.
that
I
she
see.
said.
Go ahead.
One of the things that she said that I just thought was so hilarious that it still needs to be pointed out yet again. She got up there as this Democrat virtue signaling rich white woman who was gonna show all the Latinos how not racist she is, and she got up there and she attacked you for shit that I said on this show. You weren't even here. And because silence is violence, you didn't speak out against what I did that was wrong. Therefore, you're responsible. She then personally denigrated you, personally denigrated DJ Beauregard, and personally denigrated Ryan DeZoglio. But when she walked away, Mary Beth Donovan and the other so-called liberals at the table, Dan Shabilia and the rest of them, didn't turn around and condemn her for denigrating you and DJ and Ryan. They sat there quiet and did what she accused you of doing. They sat there and did nothing while you were being personally attacked. Ryan was being personally attacked, and to some degree, DJ was being personally attacked, which once again shows how full of shit they all are. They're all doing what they're accusing you of doing, and they just want to point out that you're the one doing it so nobody sees that they're the one doing it.
So this is my philosophy, Tommy, and I think it's on the same page with you. I've been an elected official for 15 years, and I served at the State House for 24 years. At times, I'm going to be personally attacked. And so long as you don't slander me or libel me, and I have the right to sue you in the court of law, right? You have a right to go to that podium, and you have 5 minutes to talk about any topic and call me into question in my policies. So I don't have a problem with that. What I had a problem with is that we had an existing policy, right, that said that all comments had to be directed to the chair, which I think is unconstitutional.
It is unconstitutional.
You can only speak to the agenda and nothing else. So when you had...
It's even unconstitutional to make someone provide their name and address.
And I don't have a problem with someone just going to that podium and then... Because you have to protect... Sometimes you have domestic violence people or Jane Does, and you don't want to invoke anybody's name because they need to be protected.
Right.
Right. So I'm very much an advocate for the constitutional rights. You go to that podium, so long as you don't call me a child molester or a corrupt bastard or, that I...
They called you worse. They called you
I
a
don't
friend of
give
Tom
a-
Duggan.
Well, that's,
That's worse.
That's debatable.
In
Sometimes
their
I'm like,
world.
should I be friends with Tom Duggan?
Right.
Do I like him? Do I hate him?
I prefer not, but...
With this, it's
But
I'm
don't
not
take
gonna
it
say
personal. I
love
hate
hate
everyone.
because they're going to say something about us.
Right, but don't take it personal. I hate everyone.
No, you came in as a grumpy sailor
I
anyway,
did.
so I'm
I
all
did.
set. And I dealt with it. The body language, I've dealt with interaction for thousands of years. She's a saint.
Listen, I remember.
thank you.
I remember when you were an aide for State Rep Artie Broadhurst, and you
Yeah.
worked in the State House when we
Yeah.
first started the Valley Patriot.
Yeah.
Do you still talk to Artie?
Artie's a great guy.
I wish he'd come back and advertise with us. We lost him during the Jajuga thing, and he never came
I
back.
think it was a tough situation, and he's a very good friend of mine.
I know. Well, we'd like to have him back.
But-
The
but-
Jajuga thing's been over for 10
No,
years
but
now.
what happened,
so-
I got to tell you right now on that, is that I don't want to go into detail, right? But it was something in Methuen. And
I'm
I
sure
don't
he
wanna
was
go-
getting pressure, but I'm
I-
okay with he left. I just want him to come back now. That
No,
it's over.
I understand. I can't be involved in that conversation. He's
All
a
right.
great guy.
Oh, okay. Well,
You
I
know.
guess it's worse than I thought. All right.
But there's a reason for it.
So now, if you become a state rep, I guess I have two questions. First, how are you going to get across the finish line? But more importantly, if you were to win, you're going to be the only Republican at the State House. I'm exaggerating.
Really?
Obviously, there's 3 others or 5
There's
others.
only 20
But-
House Republicans,
but-
roughly.
Your vote isn't really going to stop anything, right?
So this
how
is my premise, is that regardless of who the nominee is, and I have to say this, is that I'm loyal to Brian because Brian was out early, and I went to the Andover Inn, and I liked what he said. Okay, he got
Brian Shortsleeve.
Brian Shortsleeve. Okay, he got the 15%, and his lieutenant governor candidate Sean Oliver qualified for the ballot. So they're running across the state, and we're going to have a primary.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it, I'm not understanding Mike's people, respectfully.
Mike Minogue.
Yeah, so like Mike's people said, get out of the race, Brian.
They're
rally.
typical elitists.
So the thing about it, right, is that Mike won't debate.
No.
And
Won't come on this show.
And in 40%, they did polling, 40% of the people in that race are undecided. So that's still a wide open race.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at Mike versus Healy and Brian versus Healy, it's still early on in the race, and you still got the fall, right? They're about the same distance from Healy. But I still think, like, Healy's vulnerable. But the thing about it, it's the 11th commandment of Ronald Reagan. Do not speak ill of fellow Republicans. And that's
because you damaged them for the final election.
I'm not understanding that. We'll have it's almost sound like Biden. Biden didn't participate in New Hampshire's primary.
Well, because they don't believe in democracy.
I just don't understand that. But
democracy.
the thing about it, it's Mike's people. I don't online. Then they attacking me. I said, listen, I've been with the Republican Party for decades.
Where have you been?
Well, the thing about the Republican Party doesn't support me at all.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Where have these people been?
Well, I don't. Again, I'm an elected official. Tommy, you know me. I had a shoestring budget. Kathleen Coy Romney raised $10,000. I raised $1,000, and we were like this in the final. And I had Pollard's people against me. I don't care. I am the most conservative Methuen elected official in history. I will stake my conservative record against anybody on taxes, on the GIC, on social issues, on protecting parents, on protecting students, cops in the schools, cameras on the buses, level 3 sex offenders, going against them, right? Making sure there was concessions so we weren't fleecing the taxpayers during the Great Recession of 2008. I've been on the front lines. You know me. We've had our battles, but I think overall you said I was 100% conservative record that you can value and appreciate.
100%.
But the Republican State Committee, I hate to say it, they don't even have a viable phone number. And the local, I hate to say it right now, and we'll do a little.
The local Republican Party is a nightmare.
It is.
So
they're absolutely useless. They're absolutely useless.
For me right now, Tommy, because I study trends and I have a master's degree in political science, I know the trend is the Hispanics of Lawrence and Methuen are trending conservative Republican.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Okay, 8,000 people in Lawrence.
Latinos
voted.
are the only thing that can save America right now.
Oh,
right
I
now,
love that. Absolutely.
Spanish culture is the only thing that can save America right now. We are in
I just
big
got
trouble.
goosebumps.
I should have
racist,
married Spanish. I should have,
Listen, I tried twice. I tried twice to marry Hispanic. Dominican on top of it all.
That's a treadmill issue.
Although when sharp objects started flying past my head because I said something she didn't like, I knew that was probably a bad idea.
We're not all like that.
Again,
you are.
ladies and gentlemen, that's at home. That's Tommy Duggan. That's not Ken Willette, candidate Republican for the 4th Essex District.
Wow, I've never seen Ken back down so fast.
I just want to say that for the record. There's a full disclaimer. All right, and we'll have to do a little message afterwards, with little duckies or something underneath.
Right.
This was not Ken Willette. This was for all the bouncing ball. That was Tommy Duggan. Yeah. Tommy does his own show.
So I have a question. So you've worked in campaigns before.
Yes.
So you know how to do a strategy.
Yes.
What is your strategy going into this
so
race?
How do you win against a very popular state rep?
You say that it's again like I've heard people.
She's popular. I'm out there every day.
All right. So
her name is known.
Okay.
Her name.
So this is this is my theory. Okay, and it's been proven by people telling me, not necessarily me myself, but people telling me from Lawrence and from Methuen, right? Is that she'll send out a birthday card, but she will not participate in debates. She will not go on to Spanish radio shows. She will not answer questions, and her constituent services are not that great. That's what people have told me. Multiple people.
She doesn't do shows.
Okay, so that Carlita, yes, Tom. So like this whole popularity contest, I don't think the Democratic brand, is very popular right now. I think they're in the doldrums. I think it's like 20%. The ballot questions, and Diane DeZaglio as a state auditor for Methuen has been phenomenal. So when you trend against her on the ballot questions, like how does she stand on the audit? I know Ryan Hamilton, respectfully, watered down the audit and said, no, we'll dictate the terms. That's like the Japanese dictating the terms to America in 1945. Ain't happening, Sonny.
Yeah.
Right? It's ridiculous. Take him to court. And she's phenomenal. Okay.
So one of the things that all of the state reps, and I don't really understand it because it's not how I think, but I'm channeling them. All the state reps in the Merrimack Valley, they all like to champion how much money they brought to the district.
Yes.
They talk about it all the time. Whether it's Frank Moran, whether it's Fitzgibbon.
Which the majority of the local ones only bring money for Lawrence. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I guess my question is, they're always bragging that they don't brag about their votes because they can't, right? They don't brag about a lot of other things, but they all brag about how much money they bring to the district.
Okay.
So as a conservative Republican who believes in less spending and smaller government, how are you going to answer that?
Okay, so my immediate reaction to that is like it's hogwash. Okay, because if you do just minor grants and budget items, okay, we are really depleting our roads. Okay, the local aid and the Massachusetts Municipal Association will attest to it. Brian Shortsleeve has called this into question. 20 years has been languishing for local aid. School aid is not matching up with the Biden inflation.
For sure.
Okay. If you look at the roads in Lawrence and Methuen versus Salem, New Hampshire, night and day comparison.
Mm-hmm.
The bridges are breaking down. The roads are terrible, all full of potholes. Okay.
Brian, I have to say that Brian has done yeoman's work in the last 4 years fixing Lawrence roads.
What you got to do is Brian took over the T at the behest
I was talking about Brian DePina.
Oh, okay. Brian, I know. Brian is an old school Democrat.
Yeah.
To my, you might.
He's really a Republican, but he has to run as a Democrat.
Okay, so we've had this conversation, and I read the Valley Patriot, and I know exactly what's happening. He doesn't mind ICE going after the criminals.
Right.
He doesn't mind FBI, DEA, ATF doing sweeps and taking out the gangs.
Right.
Okay.
He likes it, actually. He said that makes him happy.
Okay. And he's very much promoting cleaning up the roads. The quality of life of the Lawrence Police Department has been phenomenal. They ticket, they arrest, they go and do sweeps, and it's the old school. It's like Rudy Giuliani. It's the broken windows theory. And Chief McNamara, to a certain extent, was data-driven.
Right.
Okay? And it's a shame that he's leaving. I don't know the background.
It's a crime that he's leaving.
Okay, he's absolutely phenomenal. He was data-driven. He worked with the Arlington neighborhood, and he marshaled resources where there was a spike in crime. He would marshal the resources. What you do as a law enforcement is you use every single tool under the sun. So you should be cooperating with the federal authorities. At the state level, they don't even want to cooperate on federal fraud investigations. So you're talking about billions of dollars. So the Boston Herald is talking about billions of dollars in fraud in Massachusetts.
They don't care.
Okay? But that's the taxpayers. So you talk about, a budget amendment, and some $50,000 is going to a community, whereby $5 billion just went to illegals since 2022, right? They're in Days End, right? And they're dilapidated. They're flooding our schools. They're oversaturating our resources. The police calls alone, okay? The roads are in terrible shape. You have the largest bureaucracy ever, the largest state workforce ever. She increased the size of Mass Health. She's increased the size of state government. And this is post-COVID. We should stop being like Trump. He's cut 400,000 federal employees. Okay?
Phenomenal.
The lowest level since the 1960s.
Phenomenal.
You look at the crime statistics, murder rate is the lowest since 1900.
Just because he closed the border.
Okay? We're sending troops to D.C. He's cleaning up D.C., even though despite what the Antifa's doing to the Lincoln Memorial, right? And then they try to kill National Guard people, okay? And then he's closing the border, which is the biggest.
We have a total insurrection going on, but I want to come back to.
Okay, but this all interrelated.
No, it's
When
true.
you talk about local, state, and federal, Tommy, it's all interrelated because it's literally wasting money, and they're denying the will of the people.
But will you bring back to the community, because it seems to be important?
So going back, we're going to land that plane on that.
Okay.
So my thought is this: what I'm hopeful for, but Mike Minogue's people have to relax. Okay, whoever the nominee is,
They can't. They're trying to buy an election.
Okay. So whoever the nominee is, as a diehard Republican, I'm supporting that Republican nominee because Healy is terrible. Okay. So my hope is that either Brian or Mike, two factors that weren't in previous campaigns. They're both independently wealthy, so they can contribute a good amount of money, and they know how to raise money.
Right.
Okay. The other candidates were dirt poor, and the state party is in massive debt or bankruptcy. So when you have two dynamic candidates what is the crying shame, and I say it respectfully. I mean, like, it's again, like if someone in the family is doing something wrong, you want to tell your family member, listen, have Mike debate. He's going to be phenomenal. My friend, Bob Raposa, he said he's a good friend. He watches the Howie Carr show. He said Mike did phenomenal on Howie Carr. So why doesn't he go on Tommy Duggan? Why doesn't he go on Jack Gately's show? Okay, why doesn't he go on Howie Carr and debate? Because if he's a phenomenal speaker, but he goes on Channel 5,
right?
What is he hiding? Because you and I can have a good conversation.
I'm going to ask him the same questions I asked his opponent.
Yeah,
and
I don't see anything.
And I don't care what his answer is. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, I'm not the rest of the people in the media, and maybe he's afraid of me because he thinks that I am. But I don't care. Like, I'm going to support Brian because I think he's got a better chance at winning. But if Mike Minogue becomes the nominee, I'm going to support him too.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say anything that's going to destroy the guy's chances in a final. I'm not going to fight with him, but I do want to ask him questions like, well, there are videos of you that the Democrats are playing every day on Twitter of you saying, I'm proud to be pro-life. And by the way, I'm proud to be pro-life too. But in Massachusetts, only 11% of the voters are pro-life, and 60% of the voters say abortion is their number one issue. How the hell are you going to win?
You know, I agree with you on that. I don't think abortion is an issue because
it shouldn't be an issue, but you know it will be.
Yeah, and again, my premise is this. Okay, Trump was he appointed Supreme Court justices that overturned Roe versus Wade.
Thank God.
And left it to the states. Now you have certain states that do late-term abortions that
Colorado.
Massachusetts.
Colorado is 38 weeks.
Well,
Massachusetts up till birth.
Well, Vermont and Minnesota, and there's about 9 states, right, that will
but that's how the Constitution's supposed to work.
Yeah, so
that's why Roe v. Wade was always just bad law.
Yes.
The problem is too many people think the Supreme Court should give them the result that they want, not the result that the Constitution says it should be. And judges are supposed to tell you, no, the Constitution is what navigates what government's allowed to do and not do, and the Constitution says, no, you can't do this. They're not there to give you rights. They're not there to say, oh, here, gays, you can have rights, or, hey, transgenders, you can have rights, or you can't have rights. They're there to say, no, that's not in the Constitution, and the Constitution clearly says any right not enumerated in this document is left to the states. So marriage rights are rights left to the states. It's not mentioned in the Constitution. Now, if you don't like that, you don't have the Supreme Court create a law like they did with Roe v. Wade and say, okay, now abortion's a right. No, you use the vehicle of the Constitution. You amend the Constitution like we did with slavery, the 14th Amendment, civil rights, women's right to vote. You amend the Constitution and you say, here's a right our founding fathers never thought of and we think it should be protected. And if everyone votes for it, if 2/3 of the states vote for it and 2/3 of the legislature votes for it, you have a constitutional amendment, and you can give all the abortion rights that you want at the national level. But up until that time that happens, abortion is not mentioned in the Constitution. It's not alluded to in the Constitution, so it's a right left to the states. And too many people today went through public education being told by public school teachers and teachers' unions that the Supreme Court is there to give you rights or take your rights away, and none of that is true.
So I don't want
I didn't want to go on a rant, but I want people at home to understand.
People don't know about amendments. They don't understand what an amendment is. They don't even know that the Bill of Rights are the first 10. Like a lot of people don't.
And
know
when I say the founding fathers were geniuses, and they go, well, what about the ones that owned slaves? That doesn't matter that they owned slaves. They created a document that allowed us to do away with slavery. That's the genius. Yeah. The genius is that they created a document that didn't tell us what they thought we should do. They gave us a document that said, and if you don't like what we did, you can change it. It's not going to be the government, the proletariat, the Democrat Party, the Republican Party. You can change it, and here's the only way you can do that, and that doesn't include writing and abortion in the margins with a pencil.
So this is, and I want to go back to your question about how can I have an impact to being a Republican state representative?
Right.
So I want to answer that question first for you because you're entitled to an answer. Secondly, I want to go back to the abortion question, my personal perspective. Okay, so in terms of I'm seeking a Republican governor, okay, and when you have a Republican governor and you have limited Republican leadership in the House and Senate, what the Republican governor can do is have the bully pulpit, okay? He can do things through an executive branch that a Democrat would do in the opposite direction. Plus, in Methuen, they're seeking a public safety building that could be easily achieved through a bond issue. That really originates through the governor.
Didn't they just build a brand new police station?
Not in Methuen, no. You're talking about Lawrence.
No, I'm talking about in Methuen.
No,
No,
they
no.
switched. They
No.
switched to that. They used to be the central schools or something like that. The offices for
No,
school.
that's not the police department, Tommy.
Yeah, it is.
No, the police department is still at the Quinn building. What
Right,
is-
but
Yeah, but it
didn't
wasn't
they
there
just,
before.
Didn't they just
no,
build
it's
it
always
though?
been that. No,
Really?
no.
I thought they used to be the school.
Well, did they make an addition or something? What am I
No,
remembering? Didn't
Tommy.
they build like a conference room? Didn't they
I
do
thought.
something to
No,
that? Expand it?
no. What they did was it used to be town services. That used to be town hall, the Quinn building.
Okay.
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 And what they did was they took the employees and either put them at the Searles building or they put them at the old central school.
Mhm.
We do not have a newly renovated or a complete construction of a public safety building.
Okay.
What they were talking about, the mayor was envisioning, was taking out the days and by maybe eminent domain and doing, it's a good location, is to have.
It's a terrible location. Your police station should be centrally located. That's all the way.
I
in
like
the
it
West
where
End.
it
Not
is
really.
now.
It's not really.
Right next
they-
to
you
the
It
know
should
where
be
it's
near the
at?
loop, is where it should
So
be.
okay, so
Thank you. Yes.
but where's the
That
land
is
on
bad.
that? Where would you build it? You know, you have limited land in that area.
Build it at the loop. You make a deal with the loop, and you take one of those businesses that fails, and you just keep that Mexican
know.
place that used to be Margaritas. They turned over. They're
You
not that
could
great
have
either.
like a substation.
Yeah.
But you could
Get rid
have
of the
something
liquor
like
store.
that, but not a bona fide public safety, because you're talking about combined police and
And I
fire.
will say that somebody who
Oh,
is
yes.
on the forefront of this and has been researching and pushing for this, and that's the future Mrs. Duggan, City Councilor DeSantos, has been touring all the fire stations, looking at all
Yeah,
the
she's doing
cracks,
good.
all the foundations. She's been compiling a report that I think she's going to be getting ready to do shortly on the infrastructure for our public safety that needs to change.
So my theory is this. I want to say something to you. This is just my opinion. I don't serve on the city council, but I did serve on the city council before. Was you know where Shotty's used to be? Okay, that's a vacant lot. The only thing is, it's kind of hard for like you had the fire trucks.
Yep.
So maybe renovate the fire department a little bit, but then have the police facility right there. It's right at the downtown. And then when you have the Quinn building, right, is prime real estate. Because if you look at
Make it a homeless center.
I'm going to try.
there's homes
I'm
right
going to
next
try. I serve the taxpayers of
Go ahead.
Methuen, Tommy. Okay, that's a prime location to sell, to get money into the coffers of Methuen, the free cash. That's a prime location for like a medical building, because a lot of people, like seniors, would go to a medical. It's right there where the highway. You probably get some grant funding to do like an extension.
213, right?
Right. Yeah. So my theory is where Shotty's used to be would be a good location for a combined public safety building. The only thing is the terrain is kind of difficult.
I think that needs help. Like downtown Methuen needs a lot
But
of help.
that's what it is. Downtown Methuen, they
There's
did a
nothing
lot
there.
of renovations, right? But they really need to do is almost like Haverhill, is maybe close off part of the downtown and have outdoor dining.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the logistics of it, so maybe the central district.
There might be like
but
2
you know how
restaurants
like
there. That's
y-
it.
Yeah, but the only thing is, the 1859 house is gone, and you have Country Kitchen. Bada Bing's is going under new ownership.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, and then Manzi's liquor store was dilapidated for years.
There's the
right?
Chinese spot.
The
as well.
Chinese spot's pretty good, and they've done some renovations in the downtown. But I envision something of like maybe some artist studios and some outdoor dining, and then revamp the traffic flow. Right, that's something to do. What you have as a Republican governor is that you have massive bond funding, so you take the leverage of the governor's office to do something to accomplish for the citizens of Methuen, because Andover has a really good public safety building. I think North Andover has a pretty good public safety building.
Excellent.
Lawrence has
Really?
recently done it, so Methuen should be stepping up to the
Yeah,
plate.
let's not talk about the Lawrence station.
But you're not going to. I mean, I can't speak to that. But
You know
like,
the Methuen station?
but like the Methuen station is the Quinn building's been there for decades.
Right.
So the only thing is they took over the building, but it's not a brand new building.
Okay.
Okay. And then the
I
other,
thought they just built something or renovated
No,
it.
they moved in there.
they moved. They took over the
But
whole building.
that
But it's
used
not.
to be-
They
I
might
thought
have
it
done
used
like
to be
some
for
like
schools.
some renovations, like put some walls and something like that, right?
It's just not often that my memory is wrong about that. So whenever I'm always double
No,
questioning.
no, that's
it.
okay. Don't worry about it.
I mean,
And
No,
then
you
I
were
am,
right
I am
about-
getting old.
You are right about moving in there. They were
Right,
not there
right.
before.
But that's something I would say just to offer is that what a shoddy site is, and then you have a Republican governor, and then have a public safety building. I think Brian Shortsleeve, might hire Mike if on a homelessness is and really revamp homelessness, especially for the veterans.
Oh, don't say SAR.
Well, a point person. You know,
know
you
what you
guys
mean.
with the semantics with the road.
No, I'm
yeah.
just telling because you're trying to be careful. So I'm just looking out.
No,
for
it's
you,
like
know?
a head person for homelessness.
I know what it means. Yeah.
Yeah. And then going back to the abortion question is it used to be a term. It was that abortion was supposed to be safe, legal, and rare. And that's not the case nowadays. You have abortion on demand.
Because Democrats never really mean what they say.
I can't believe full term. That's a
Yeah.
baby. That's
So
like,
like in terms of like
Oh my
you know,
God.
again, personally, I'm a pro-choice, but I wouldn't do anything to expand the scope of abortion. And within the confines, I would try to see if there was a coalition to say, okay, maybe we shouldn't be having late-term abortions. Maybe we should be focusing on adoption. Maybe we should be strengthening the foster
Or 12 weeks.
systems. You know, again, the limit. A lot of
Yeah.
these states, that's what they did when they overturned Roe versus Wade. They still had abortion, but they limited it. But then you have 9 states that up to even birth, so long as the mother, and she doesn't have to be like even mentally that sound. She can say, I want to terminate the
what
child.
doctors do that?
But it's,
So you're-
it's legal.
doctors
So you're
does it?
You're pro-abortion, though. You said.
I am.
That surprised me.
What the reality is, right, is I can't reconcile second-class citizenship for women and having say, okay, we don't have any abortion at all. I'm still working through that. Personally, I'm pro-life. I would never want to have a.
I don't buy that argument from anybody. Sorry.
I'm personally
But
pro-life.
the
But
thing
if
ab-
other people,
because
the
I would
Trump
because
is the
I
same way,
because
though.
I would never rape a woman because I think rape is wrong. But who am I to say some other guy?
But the thing
Yeah, but
about
that's
that,
different.
Tom, that's only 1% of all the abortions.
No, but I'm saying I would never rape a woman.
Yeah.
But I think rape should be legal because who am I to say
Oh,
that
that's
another
a troll.
man
I don't buy into
that
that.
another
All
man
right.
can't
no,
rape someone?
He's using it as an
I'm
example.
using your logic and I'm applying it to rape, and I'm showing you how your logic
No. The
respectfully doesn't work.
reality is this: is right. We don't have a federal ban on abortion, even though the Republicans would love to have a federal ban on abortion.
Yeah, I don't think we should have a federal ban on abortion.
Okay, so we're on the same page. Okay, let's start with
Well,
that.
because it's not in the
premise.
Constitution. So
Okay,
it's not the
so let's
function
start
of
with
government.
that premise. Okay,
If I could wave a magic wand, I would say yes. I would love to do that. But
I have a deep.
I
Respect
believe in the
for you,
Constitution.
and I have a deep respect for you and as being a pro-life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you and I are like we're strict interpretation of the Constitution.
100%.
Okay, so we don't have a federal ban on abortion,
No,
even if
and we
could.
can't have a federal
Okay.
ban on abortion.
All right. So it goes up to the states. And a lot of the states, I think, state by state, the vast majority of the states have done restrictions on abortions.
Mm-hmm.
There's only a few that I think really limit abortions. Okay. That might be some of the deep red states.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. On the flip side, and I totally agree with you, is that it's a cultish mentality of I'm using abortion as birth control, which is evil. I'm in favor of Plan B. I'm in favor of contraception. I'm in favor of pregnancy centers. I'm in favor of adoptions. I'm in favor of protecting pregnancy centers with civil rights.
But I see abortion as violating men's rights. Because if I
yeah.
get my girlfriend pregnant, she can have an abortion even though I'm the father. I have no say. And she can opt out of motherhood by having an abortion. But if she has the kid against my will and I want her to have the abortion, it's her choice only, but I have the responsibility for paying for it for the next 18 years when I had no say in the discussion. I had no say in the choice that was whatsoever. So to me, abortion is not just taking a life, but it's a violation of men's rights. Even these baby drop-offs, women can take my child and go to a fire station and drop off my kid, quote, no questions asked, meaning we're not going to ask you who the father is, and drop my child off, and my child goes to a stranger instead of back to me. All of these laws, I think, are just horrible.
But the thing about it, Tommy, is you're dealing with like a very bad reality.
Yeah,
and
it's
I
like
have
the
a
Twilight
deep
Zone
respect. I
episode.
really have a deep respect for you. I really do. and I can have the conversation.
Well,
with
this conversation helps you get votes. That's why I'm having it.
No,
Because most people don't agree with me.
But the thing about it, Tommy, is that, for instance, we're talking about dropping off a child, right? The reason why they had that law, right? And again, it's a dereliction of responsibility of the mother at a certain point.
Right.
But what the problem was is that the women were giving birth and then just dumping them in alleys, and they were dying. So they said, okay, if you go to a fire station, they already have medical personnel there. They're trained. They're like EMTs. They can maybe save the child, maybe save the mother.
But it should be codified to first try and find the father before they just give it away.
No. You know it yourself. I don't know. Like, again, I went through a divorce, right? I hate to say it. The laws are very much geared towards, like, the women.
Right.
And as a whole, they are so scientific thing, right? But then, like, in terms of custody, a lot of times it goes back to the men because the other person is not capable of raising the children. But there's a premise that the mother of the child should automatically have these kids. And I think the situation with Manchester, the girl who was killed, both of those parents were god awful, and they sacrificed that.
But that doesn't
child.
mean the kid doesn't deserve to live.
No. I'm
free.
not saying that, but
Right.
there has to. But the thing about it, like, they send some of these kids to these reform schools, or they send them to certain homes, and I'm not saying in all cases, and then they get through abuse again, right?
But I'd rather be abused than be alive than
No.
be dead.
It's a
I don't
very
know about that, Tom.
it's a very difficult
You say
argument.
that because you haven't.
I had an abusive childhood.
Well,
My
yeah.
father's wife used to beat the hell out of me. My aunt and uncle, Dottie and Frankie, raised me because my father's wife used to beat the hell out of me. In fact, my real mother, I was supposed to be an abortion. I've never told this story. I'm going to tell it right now. I was supposed to be an abortion. My father found out my real mother, who I didn't know growing up, my father found out that my real mother was on her way to Connecticut to have an illegal abortion. And he and my Uncle Bob got into a police car, because my father wasn't a cop, but my Uncle Bob was a cop, and drove down and found her and stopped her from having an abortion. And I wouldn't be here today if abortion was legal in Massachusetts when I was growing up, when I was conceived. So one of the reasons that I'm so pro-life is that I wouldn't be here if abortion was legal back then. And you know what? I was abused the first few years of my life. That's up until I was 9, I was abused. My father's wife used to do someday I'll write a book about the horrifying things that I went through as a kid. But I would still rather be here, having gone through that, than not be here at all. And I'm just saying. Everybody wants to make it about the woman and emotional manipulation, so I can do that too. That my experience is at 59 years old. I'm glad that I got 59 years, and even though the first 9 sucked, I'm glad I got to 59.
I'm sorry that happened to you, Tom.
So
I'm sorry too, and I think this is my personal perspective, right? When you have two people that bring a child into this world,
right,
okay, out of existence, right? They brought it into existence, okay, and they abandon that child, or they abuse that child, or they neglect that child. I think it's like the most evil thing on the planet.
Me too.
Because if you didn't do anything at all, and you didn't do a tango, and you didn't have sexual relations,
You're innocent.
Okay, that innocent child wouldn't have been brought into existence. And then all of a sudden, you have the baby factories and the baby mamas and the dads and the whole culture, and it's all over the place. And they celebrate the culture. And they say, oh, yeah, multiple kids and multiple dads and everything like that. So in that whole sea of things, right, I'm trying to be pragmatic and navigate.
Right.
Okay, like Trump's law, there's liberals that said, oh, how disgusting is that? We should be having abortion on demand all across the 50 states. It was an abomination to overturn Roe versus Wade. That's the mentality.
Right.
They support the 9 states of late-term abortions. So in Massachusetts, if you can get a coalition, and this is why I'm concerned about when people call, like, for instance, Charlie Baker a rhino.
I know, I hate it too.
He had about 68% approval rating when he could have easily run for a 3rd term. And he's with the...
But even he saw what the hard left turn that the state took.
Well, the thing about it, he would have been reelected with no problem.
I don't know.
What problem? It was internally, was the Republican Party and certain people that you know
I
call
know.
them out.
I call them out.
They say
Republicans hate me more than Democrats.
That say the rhino. Like, again, so on every single issue, right, on the most part, I support Trump. And on the issue of abortion, We don't, because of the Constitution, that we have a deep respect for the Constitution. We don't have a federal abortion ban, but we were able to overturn Roe versus Wade and leave it up to the states. So at least we're trying to work on that.
Right.
And also, too, what Biden was doing to those pregnancy centers was absolutely ridiculous.
Yep.
And also the pro-life people that were doing peaceful protests, and they were putting them into prison. These old women that were just like trying to change appointments.
Because the Democrats are actually communists now. They're not Democrats anymore.
I understand that, but that's what I'm
They're
fighting.
dictators.
I'm fighting against. So I understand about the purity issue, but I'm trying to be pragmatic.
So the Democrats have a secret weapon in every election in Massachusetts, and it's a secret weapon that they can pull out and they can use whenever they want, and it will end every election the minute that they do. And their secret weapon is the Massachusetts Republican Party. The Massachusetts Republican Party will never pass up an opportunity to circle the wagons and shoot in. They will never pass up an opportunity to destroy the only candidate that they have that can actually win in a final election. Because it goes back to, and maybe this is just one experience, but for me it goes back to when I was very high up in the Tea Party. I was the MC at the Greater Boston Tea Party rally every year on the Common on tax day. Christine Morabito was president of the Greater Boston Tea Party. I was kind of her partner in all of that. We went from Tea Party meeting to Tea Party meeting all across the state. And I used to ask the Tea Party members when Scott Brown was running against Elizabeth Warren, and they would say, we're not going to support Scott Brown. He's not pure enough on abortion. He's not pure enough on this. He's not pure enough on that. And I would say, well, but he's with us 60% of the time. Would you rather have someone with you 60% of the time or Elizabeth Warren who's with you 0% of the time? Yeah. And do you know what they told me in Springfield, Worcester, and Boston? They said, we'd rather have Elizabeth Warren because we can fundraise off her foolishness. So then you don't care about abortion, and you don't care about conservatism, and you don't care about taxes. You care about your fucking money. That's what you care about, and that's why I walked away from the Tea Party. I walked away from the Republican Party for a different reason, but I walked away from the Tea Party because it became very obvious when I brought Katie Ives, a left-wing lunatic Democrat state senator, to the Merrimack Valley Tea Party meeting. Ted Tripp and Lonnie Brennan would not allow me to have her speak when she had a proposal to put photo ID on EBT cards. Things Republicans and the Tea Party have been crying about for decades. We're going to stop the fraud with the EBT. We have to stop welfare fraud. And here was a left-wing lunatic who thinks Elizabeth Warren's too conservative, who can get it done because she's a Democrat, who can get it done because she's a liberal. I brought her to the VFW in North Andover, and they wouldn't let her speak because she's for abortion. But when it came time for Scott Brown, we're going to turn on Scott Brown because we can make more money on Elizabeth Warren. They don't believe, just like the Democrats, they don't believe in anything they say. We got to wrap it up soon.
No. Question. We have a question.
Oh, question. Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, you want me to read
But
it?
I want to add another story if I could.
Sure.
too.
Yeah. How will you bump up against the status quo in Boston? How do you become vocal enough to out the grift going on?
So
Ken.
Yeah, the grift. Well,
John Savastano.
Well, I'm going to be part of it, so I'm sorry. No, but in all honesty, right, I'm going to give you quickly my background. I know you have to wrap up. 24 years at the State House. I worked for 3 Democratic state representatives, resolved thousands of cases, received hundreds of thank you letters, okay, and they knew I was Republican. I can get things accomplished on Beacon Hill. I will work on coalitions. I talked about the body cams that I want to have for every single police department in Massachusetts.
I'm shocked Lawrence doesn't have body cams.
No, it's only about 140.
What?
Lawrence does not have body cams.
So that would be my first legislation
That's just a crime.
package.
So what happened with the cop? Sorry. What happened with the cop recently that he got run over? That wasn't on camera?
It wasn't in Lawrence.
It wasn't Lawrence.
So
No, he was a Lawrence. He was a Lawrence.
It was on East
But it
Haven
wasn't on
Street.
body cam. It must have been on somebody's dash cam.
Oh, it is? Somebody has it? Okay.
But Lawrence doesn't have body cams. And Methuen, only some cops have body cams, not all of them.
So by 2028, my legislation is every single local and state law enforcement agency would be mandated to have body cams because it protects the constitutionality of all parties, and it really protects the cops because you have these volatile situations where they make accusations towards the cops. I think it helps the cops, too, with these situations.
Isn't it hilarious how the Democrats tried so hard when they were trying to defund the police? They thought that if they outfitted cops with body cams, that it would expose cops abusing their authority. And really what it did is it showed us what these cops actually have to deal with. Yes, some of them do abuse their authority, and I'm glad that there are videos all over Facebook showing cops demanding people's IDs unlawfully, cops pulling people over unlawfully. You're always going to have bad doctors, bad lawyers, bad cops. But what it really showed the whole country is that the defund movement was full of shit, because what these cops deal with are not choir boys every day that they're just beating up for no reason.
How do you find that mandate? He's following up on your question.
Yeah, so follow up on a mandate is you do these issues that you can reach across the aisle.
No. He wants to know how to find it, like where it is. Where is it?
The what? The
Let me see. Yeah. How do you find that mandate?
Like I said, you find you file legislation that would be popular.
Is he saying how do you fund that mandate? And you just typed it wrong?
Fines.
Well, so there is funding available for the body cams that they're not taking advantage of it. The police departments. You have over an $8 billion surplus. It's one of the largest surpluses, and plus you have the millionaires tax that really should be for schools and for the T. Just a quick story too. So again, I have that, and I also want to do a commission where we're doing it would be governor appointees, House and Senate appointees, the auditor, the inspector general, the Pioneer Institute, Mass Fiscal Alliance, and another group like Mass Budget that do a deep dive commission on all agencies, expenditures, and different spending, and within 2 years have a package that they would do an up or down vote, because we really have to streamline state government.
Another question. Yep.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'll answer.
He meant to say fund. He wrote back. But Gerald Donahue wants to know, who is your best bet for the new Methuen police chief?
Oh, my God.
I can tell you who it's going to be. I'm not going to. I mean, there's no point in telling you who it should be, because I already know who it's going to be.
Well, I mean, they should do an outside search, just like they're going to do it. Should do an outside search.
They'll do a fake outside search.
You know,
the one that we have now, isn't he from Methuen? Wasn't he
Mac
start as a cop?
He was a Lawrence cop.
Oh, he's a Lawrence cop.
Yeah. You need to have someone from outside Methuen.
I agree, but they won't. They're going to give it to Jamie Moore.
I don't.
Remember where you heard it first.
No, and again, if I was a city councilor, again, I'm a school committee member.
I blow her away on every show. At least once a show I look over.
You said you were gonna say, and then you were like, "Yep, Jamie Moore."
Well, again, you have the inside track on that, because I'm not a city councilor. So hopefully that answers. I don't want to be able to know.
You should be a city councilor. You should be. You shouldn't be on the school committee.
No, but the thing about it, who do I run against?
Well, what district?
I like Patricia Valley.
You're in the West?
Yeah. Mike would tell the ticket.
Right.
At large. Ella's not going to last
that long.
Who am I
going to take out? Zani Pesh?
No. Ella's not going to last long. So she's going to go on to her new career.
Who?
You know, isn't Ella going for something else?
I'm not
Central
Central
District. He's not in that district.
I'm West End.
Oh,
he's in the West.
Patricia
so
Valley.
we have to wait for Mike Samad to step aside.
Well, either Mike Samad just came back to the council, and then my intention would be hopefully win for state representative.
Right.
And just focus on that. Eventually, I might run for city council again. But, I mean, Patricia Valley's done a phenomenal job.
She's a great
and I'm proud to endorse her.
Probably my favorite counselor.
I like her. Probably. I like the chairwoman. I like Councilor Drew.
Although she still hasn't had lunch with me, though, Nellie. We still have to have lunch.
She's a great person. It's just what happens. She's so busy. She's got her real estate, and she's done a phenomenal job.
And I've noticed that she has softened her tone, which is something that I've been saying a long time she needed to do. And I see that she's starting to soften her tone a little bit. She's not doing a video every time someone criticizes her, which is also helping her. I think that she very well could be a state rep or a mayor in very short order if she played her cards right. And I think if she just keeps doing what she's doing, she's extremely smart. Mm-hmm. She is she's not a bad-looking woman. She is very well. Listen, it's important. Yeah. Listen, aesthetics is important.
I understand.
When was the last time you saw a obese 70-year-old white-haired woman on CNN reading the news?
Wait, Tommy.
Never.
Tommy, Hillary Clinton should have been president. I don't know what you're talking about. She's a looker.
No,
but
I think you just proved my point, not the other way around.
But I'm just hitting on that. But I think you and I are on the same page. I think the Hispanic vote is the future. The Hispanic leaders are the future.
I'm actively pushing for a Latino takeover of Methuen. And I don't mind even saying it out loud. I'm actively pushing for a Latino takeover of Methuen, because the only way you stop the corruption in Methuen is you got to push aside the old guard. You have to push aside the good old boy network. And you can't do that with white voters, because the white voters who are still left in Methuen are all related to all the corrupt politicians, and they have a benefit by supporting
Checks
the
and
corrupt politicians.
balances.
But the
Checks and
Latinos don't care. And just like we saw after Mike Sullivan, the last white mayor of Lawrence, we saw when the Latinos came in, it was Willie Lantigua, it was turmoil for a while, then Dan Rivera kind of stabilized it. Now Brian DePina's doing great. And I think that the same thing would happen in Methuen. You get rid of the old guard, you get rid of the corrupt white, liberal, left-wing, corrupt people in Methuen.
The same last names.
And you turn it over to the Latinos who have no history here, who don't care that you're an old guard, who don't care that you were a mayor 40 years ago, who don't care that you used to be a state rep 50 years ago. They're going to get in there and they're going to make the decisions based on what's good for the community, not based on who it's going to help.
So this is my theory, and this is why I really enjoy working with the Hispanic community. They're very family-oriented.
Mm-hmm.
They're very religious. They're very
pro-life.
They're traditional values, which I deeply respect. Okay, they're homeowners. They're very business-oriented.
Business owners.
Okay, and they're the future of the Republican Party, in my estimation. I'm a big fan of.
They're the future of America. They're the only thing America.
Yeah, well, the future of
only
America,
thing that can
Tommy,
save this country right
the only
now.
future of America is the Republican Party.
Right.
The Democratic Party, in my estimation, is a.
Well, they're working for the drug. They're an agent of the drug cartels in China right now. They just are, and that's not hyperbole. It's just a fact.
People hear that and they think you're talking crazy.
But think
when
about.
I first heard you say something like that, I was
But
like, "There's
the
no
thing
way."
about it, right? What you
And
do
you're
is
right.
where there's smoke, there's fire. Look at how the Obama and Biden judges are operating on the Constitution,
Yeah. Right.
and they're getting overruled left and right by the Supreme Court.
And it sounds crazy, but when you start to think about, where they stand on things, and you compartmentalize it, what I say sounds crazy. But when you put it all together, when you no cash bail, letting people out after they commit crimes, stopping us from deporting illegal aliens, giving taxpayer-funded services to people who aren't
Isn't
supposed
that
to be
illegal
here.
to
It
do that?
certainly should be illegal if it's not. Everything that they do helps one group, illegal aliens. And who are the illegal aliens? Every single illegal alien who has come to this country through the southern border, every single one had to pay the drug cartels to get here.
Thank
And
you.
once they get here, they still owe the drug cartels.
I told you
So
about
they are
that.
now an agent of the drug cartels. They have to pay remittances or their family back home suffers. So even that nice, mild-mannered person who works under the table, who's hanging sheetrock, who came here from El Salvador, he's still an agent of the drug cartels because they control him.
And he has to pay. I told you about that. So you can go. You know what we should do? We should do an interview to one of these people.
I would love that.
I know this. I used to get my eyebrows done with her. And one time she was talking to me. She's like, "Oh, I just brought my sister over here. I owe so much money. I still haven't paid my money." And I was like, "Oh, what money?" She's like, "Oh, we have to pay to be able to cross the border."
Right.
She's not even from Mexico.
And they have to
She's
keep
from,
paying once they get here.
She's from Ecuador.
So,
She
like-
had $20,000 for her to be able to cross, for a coyote to pass her through the border. The same for her sister and her daughter. So it is a business, and they're still getting money from the money that she's making here, which is crap because illegals make nothing. Businesses take advantage of
If
them.
you hate ICE, that's a number one clue that you're working for the cartels.
So I want to add a story too, and I enjoy, because I'm a political scientist. I enjoy watching the media, and the media to me is a pack of hounds at times. Okay, it's a group mentality.
Well, they're the PR arm of the Democratic
Okay,
Party.
so I'll give
most
you a
of them.
major example that's going to give a good premise to your theory about the cartels and political influence. Okay, the border was a major factor. ICE was a major factor. But even take a basic common sense approach. You look at the military and the Coast Guard, what they're doing with the drug interdiction, and the media is outraged by it. So
They're mad we're blowing up boats of drug dealers.
Yes. So if you look at the boats, right, they're speed boats. They're packed to the gills with drugs. They're showing the video evidence of it. But you have the media and the people on Reddit and Blue Sky saying, oh, no, those are fishermen. And
Right.
why didn't you save them?
Right.
Meanwhile, Obama killed civilians with the drone program.
American civilians.
So
no due process.
no-
Nobody complained.
Okay, so when they talk about like qualified immunity, and they say, well, that only benefited Trump. No, when someone does something and they try to protect American lives, but then they make mistakes. But in the case of Obama, he did
it on purpose.
He did the drones, and he killed it was a wedding. He killed everybody at a wedding.
Wow.
Okay, so when you talk about civil libertarians, right? But if you go back to what the drug boats, they're speedboats, packed to the gills, and you have video evidence, but they're fishermen, Tom.
Right.
The guy is a Maryland dad,
Well,
Tom.
they're making excuses for the drug cartels because they can't say we like drug dealers.
Yeah.
They can't say we're working for the cartels, so they have to distract and deflect. Just like that guy who was an MS-13 member who literally had the symbols for MS-13 tattooed on his knuckles. The Democrats were still saying he was a Maryland man. He was a father of 3.
It didn't have the actual what is it called, the letters?
Yeah,
but it had like
the
the
symbols
M
for each one.
for like the M for mom
Right.
or something.
So
like
I
that,
gotta
stuff
say
like that.
very quickly, right?
And then we got to go.
Okay, very quickly, a couple quick stories, okay? So I'm going to give it, just add more to your premise because I enjoyed the conversation, right? So Mexico, right, is a democracy.
Right.
They have voter ID.
Well, kind of, but yeah.
Okay, they vote on elections.
Right.
They have voter ID, right? Who are in the back pockets of the cartels? The judges,
Right.
okay? Is it that far of a stretch that the cartels are funneling money into this country?
Of course they are.
Is it that far
They're
of a stretch?
funding the
to-
Democrat Party.
Okay.
They're literally funding
So,
the
like,
Democrat
if you
Party.
have shell corporations and you're money laundering and you're funding NGOs.
Most of the NGOs are actually the cartel.
So when Trump came in and, like, terminated foreign aid, and he went after the United Nations, and he went after NGOs, and he went after Stacey Abrams.
Boy, the Democrats flipped
right?
the hell out, didn't they?
Do you notice the difference between the Democratic Party coffers and the Republican Party?
Mm-hmm.
You notice a factor in that? That look at Minnesota, all the money was going to the politicians, all the fraud money. They're running scared right now. Massachusetts is running scared. So if you're an average voter in Massachusetts, do me a favor. Analyze the Democratic Party right now on the ballot questions, on fraud, on illegals, on spending for our roads and schools, our police, or how we treat the police. The guy that was arrested for manslaughter because he defended, or the guy that was released from prison and shooting up Memorial Drive. And if it wasn't for an off-duty person and a Marine that interceded.
If it wasn't for a good guy with a gun, the
good
bad guy with the gun would have killed more
after,
people.
We go after the good people with guns,
Of course we
right?
do, because they're working for the cartels.
Okay. So, and then a very quick story, because I know you have to wrap it up. If you're attacking Charlie Baker as a rhino, right? John Deaton is a phenomenal candidate. John Deaton.
Can he win?
I think he's capable. I think he's.
Do you really think he can win? If you think he can win, I'll have him on the show.
I think you should have him on the show, just to have him on the show, because we're trying to support the
I don't want to have
Republican.
people on the show that can't win, though. I'm not going to. There's so many candidates that can win. Why would I have somebody on that has no
But
shot?
the thing about it,
Tell
right?
me he's got a 5% shot. I'll have him on.
Well, he got 40% of the vote the first time around. I think Mr. Frosty is vulnerable. Ed Markey, he doesn't live in Massachusetts.
Right.
He's old. Seth Moulton's going to damage him. He's going to probably get about 40%.
I'd rather
of the
have
vote.
Markey than Seth, though.
No, but Markey's Mr. Frosty. He's like Biden light.
Right.
Wait,
He's no different.
where does he live?
He lives in D.C. He has a padlock at his house. John Deaton visited his house. He doesn't live up in Massachusetts. He has a place in Massachusetts that has a padlock on it. Like if you had a home that wasn't there all the time, and he has this place down in, I don't know, Chevy Chase or whatever most of them do, right? Again,
And he has a house in D.C.?
yeah, but John Deaton is not always voted with the Republicans.
Yeah, but I'm okay with that because.
But that's the
because
problem.
I
The
don't
other
always
side
vote
is
with the
saying, no.
Republicans.
Well, the purity test is there.
Well, that's-
I just want viable
That goes back to
candidates.
the Massachusetts Democrat Party always has a guarantee win because the Republican Party has their own purity test. They circle the wagons and shoot in, and they damage their own candidate for the final election, and then they can't figure out. And by the way, they complain that the Democrats win at the end, but most of them really want the Democrat to win so that they can fundraise off their foolishness, and they told me that to my face.
Well, the thing about it, right, and we'll end the show, right, is to say.
Right. Oh, please,
my
don't
God.
get me going. I worked on...
He's gay. He supports gay marriage. How dare we vote
Richard
for
was
him?
the best
He
candidate
was
we could
phenomenal.
have ever had.
He's phenomenal. And so
But he was gay, so we couldn't elect him.
You know, and you have really good people, right, who are gay, and I support gay marriage, right? But I'm
against gay marriage, but I'm against all marriage, so.
But yeah, that's fine.
You are?
Yeah. But the thing about it, right,
Duggan?
is that Obama was against gay marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Trump was the first person as a presidential candidate to come out and say, I support gay marriage.
Right.
So are you against Trump?
Trump is very pro-gay, but you'd never know it listening to the gay lobby because they hate him.
Well, it's the Secretary of the Treasury is gay.
Right.
Okay, and he's better than
highest openly gay cabinet position in American history.
Yeah. And Marco Rubio is phenomenal.
I hated him so much, but boy, did he turn himself around.
I don't think he turned. I think he's always been like that. You just didn't. Maybe the media. Maybe
I interviewed him several times when he ran for president the first time, and he just seemed like a globalist. He seemed like, now he gets it. I think under Trump he gets that globalism has destroyed our country. That globalism is destroying freedom in Europe. It's destroying freedom in the Middle East. It's destroying freedom in Asia. But I would never vote for J.D. Vance unless I had no choice.
So the problem
I'm hoping
I love Marco Rubio because Marco Rubio reminds me almost like of JFK.
Mm-hmm.
JFK to me was
very good looking,
the last conservative Democrat. He was very strong on the military. He wanted tax cuts. He was into civil rights.
He was the last real Democrat.
He had a good friendship with Barry Goldwater. There's a whole book about conservative Democrat JFK, and I think they killed him over it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I
wow.
think Marco Rubio is someone that I could feel in the emergency situation room that would protect America and not throw us under the bus. Obama threw us under the bus.
Oh, yeah.
He went on an apology tour, and this whole Black Lives Matter and having rioters at the White House.
He promised.
His wife is pissing me off. She's going on the media talking about.
Well, that backfired because
I'm a victim. Look at me.
Yeah.
The
Everybody
richest
hates
black woman
me.
on the planet, and she's a victim.
You became like a multimillionaire after.
They have like about $400 million. That's not bad for being a state senator.
Right. That's crazy.
Going up to
though.
U.S. Senate and then being in the White House. That's not bad. 400 million. Pelosi.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Trump lost money. He was already a billionaire, and he lost money. And he's doing stuff out of pocket, and they're vilifying him.
Marco Rubio's the next president. I feel.
Well,
like.
I would love that.
Right now,
They're saying that.
now, if you had between Vance, and I do appreciate Vance,
I don't trust him.
Marco Rubio would be my preferred candidate. I'm going to say that.
I don't trust J.D. Vance at all.
Why? Because he wears eyeliner?
No,
Why?
I just don't trust him because.
But you listen like a little bit like a raccoon. I'm sorry.
No, I don't,
there's something going on
You
there.
can't trust the raccoon.
Yeah.
What do they do? They eat your trash.
Right.
Wow.
I think he would turn on Israel in a
There's a
second.
baseball team that they called like the Trash Raccoons.
All right, we gotta,
I'm gonna get that T-shirt. If I win, I'm gonna get that T-shirt
There you go,
to wear.
get it.
Yeah.
all right, we got to wrap up. Give your final pitch.
Well, I think we had a good, spirited debate. We talked about state, local, and national issues. I am always available. My phone number is 508-954-7384. If you're liberal, I will definitely have that conversation. My messenger feed has always been open. The only time I blocked somebody was they called me a pedophile because I supported Trump. That's evil and disgusting.
Yeah, well.
Okay. So regardless,
The people that want to call pedophiles minor attracted persons to normalize pedophilia are going to call other people pedophiles.
Yeah, but meanwhile, they'll have drag queens at libraries.
Right, of
And
course
if you
they will.
notice the transgender community, some of them, the state representative from New Hampshire, 33 years in prison.
I know.
Yeah.
Eric Swalwell's partner there, the partner in crime.
That's
Eric
nasty.
Swalwell, what happened to him, right? You know, where there's smoke, there's fire. I don't want to have transgender people, they have major issues. I sympathize with them. I pray for them. But I don't want drag queens in libraries, and I don't want to have books peddled to kindergartners about sex.
Do you know Kelsey Shabilia cried when Donald Trump removed all of the
Well,
insurance incentives for.
Well, Kelsey, right? And what happened was they had a whole thing about the book ban, which was the biggest load of bullshit ever in Methuen politics. Right. Book ban. I was always against the book ban. I read books all the time.
Right.
So you can go F yourself. I'm sorry about that. And we had to defend that. It was like 1984 garbage. Right. It was like propaganda bullshit. And
I've actually gone to jail for the First Amendment. They were calling me a book banner.
So then they were attacking you. They were attacking Member Maxwell and myself. I said, and they were attacking their parents. And the parents were phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, Annie was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing about it,
I wish she'd run for school committee.
I think eventually she might. She's going to be part of my committee as a parents' rights advisor. There's a few parents that want to do that. I'm going to work with the Massachusetts Family Institute.
Yep.
I want a Parents' Bill of Rights at the state level.
Yep.
If we can't get it, we'll do it with the federal. But I'll give you one story with
Real
them.
quick, we got to go. We're way over.
Yeah, so the thing about it is that I couldn't understand. You talk about storybooks. So if you don't have a storybook, that's geared towards the gay community or the transgender community, eventually someone's going to commit suicide. Which I thought was, give me the data on that.
It's just so dumb.
I would love to know the
so
data.
dumb.
So if we don't have a story time.
If we don't affirm them.
Because isn't it
the suicide rate's going to go like there's not one credible study that shows any
weren't
of
we
that.
taught, Tom, it was sexual orientation?
Right.
So it's not preference. So if you're grooming these kids, it's if you're gay, you orientate to gay. It's not like I wake up one day and say, you know what, Ken Willette is gay.
Right.
I
tried being gay. It didn't work.
No, it doesn't work out, right? I'm an honorary lesbian. I love lesbians, and I love women, right? My best friend in high school was gay.
Right.
I would die for him.
Right.
I support gay marriage. I support transgender rights up to a certain point. But I don't want to have people influencing my kids, and I don't want the pornography, like gender queer, being peddled to kids. And if you do, right,
you should be in jail.
Have the notification, because I think you're in violation of federal law. That's it.
Yeah.
A good show.
I don't believe in gay rights. I don't believe in transgender rights because there's no such thing as a gay right or a transgender. You have constitutional rights where everyone has the same rights, whether you're gay, whether you're transgender. Nobody has taken the right to vote away from a transgender person. No one has said you can't get a lawyer if you get arrested if you're a transgender person.
I think it's...
You have constitutional rights. Everything else is not a right. It's a privilege.
I think what we go back, because we're solid Republicans very quickly, it's the equality of opportunity, equal rights under the law, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm not a Republican.
Not affirmative action, not DEI, not this going off the reservation, not critical race theory.
Right.
It's equality under the law, and then please do not go near my kids if you might have religious and moral objections.
But what if Kelsey cries?
Again, she lost her election. Dan lost their election.
Can you imagine running for library board of trustees and losing?
Imagine
being such a loser that you can't win as a unbelievable.
But a Republican beat her.
Isn't that unbelievable?
And it was David Allen Boucher, Bedtime Magic.
David Allen Boucher from Bedtime Magic.
Yeah, but
106.7. All right, we're way past.
I'm sorry,
are we still going to Tomo? You and I?
I have an appointment at 4:30.
Are you kidding me?
I just got the notification.
You got me all excited about the.
But he's going.
I already get an invite.
No.
He wants to.
Wait, go with Ken Willette.
No, we don't like each other.
Not off
For
the air.
real?
We only pretend on.
Yeah, right. We only pretend.
Oh, he's kidding.
It's only to a means to an end. Bum, bum, bum.
All right, Century 21 McLennan Real Estate, Brando's Cutlets in Haverhill, Brando's Cutlets in North Andover, Town Roofing, Chachi's Junk Removal. He also does car detailing. Did a great job on my Jeep. La Despierta Lawrence, the Zany Pesh Law Office over there. On the go Notary, Marson & Son Construction, EIS, Investigation and Gun Training. Boston Medical Center, boy, do we love those guys. Cedar View Homes on Jackson Street in Methuen. Tomo and Shaken Seafood. Veteran Pathways, AFC Urgent Care. Pleasant Valley Landscaping Contractors with the contractor cam. The intern girl cam. Look how great she looks today. 4-Star Lighting, Prime Insurance, the Doug Mercurio Law Office. A free shout out to JG's Ice Cream and my buddy Paul Lambert at Lambert and Rendon. Also a free shout out to my buddy Mr. Lowe at Jasmine's Computer Service in Salem, New Hampshire. Melvin Taylor says you got to go home, so go home already.